Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The world's original podcast.
Welcome to Patriots Unfiltered.
A lot of people have commented that we may have had the best substitute show of all time.
Well, I don't know about that, but
Salt and pepper.
I remember DK Metcalf came into the league.
That's funny.
He said nobody in the league can cover me, which every receiver says. Rebuttal was like, not even Jalen Ramsey, and he was like, especially not Jalen Ramsey, or like something like that.
Together.
Yeah.
Holy, I have no knowledge of this whatsoever. I
Yeah.
gotta pay more attention, Freddie.
it's all right. You know, they don't show that on the red zone.
Hey guys, how y'all doing?
Hey,
What's going on?
Paul, you good? How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. How you doing, John?
Good. I'm happy to hear the nice, happy inflection in your tone. Sometimes you sound a little downtrodden. I worry about you.
yeah.
No,
He's fine.
no. Usually I'm just meh. Yeah, I
more
look at
splash.
those two players the way Evan just described it, which again, this is why everybody was so excited about the Salt and Pepper show
Great.
last Tuesday.
I know you young kids don't read. Reading is for suckers.
It's not
but,
that I don't like to read. I love to read. It's
Okay.
just I don't know if like I can sit down and open up a
See,
book.
that's
and
my
then-
problem.
It's
But
tough.
you can spend 4 hours scrolling on Instagram.
I think I'm a pretty decent reader, but I think I don't know. I'd rather be watching something.
You can do both.
Right?
Wow.
I like to go outside, Fred, and enjoy the
And
weather.
scroll on Instagram.
Bit of an attack.
What do you want to be, Chris,
I wanna
when
be-
you grow up?
I don't know. You know, I feel like I'm grown.
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
All right, welcome to Patriots Unfiltered. It is Tuesday here at Gillette Stadium. It's Deuce, it's Alex, it's Fred, it's Matt in the booth. Evan's out.
Evan's out.
Paul's out.
Paul is out.
Paul's been out, right? I don't know. He's
in and out.
He's in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we're going to have another off-season show as we get a little bit closer to training camp. Just a little bit. Summer goes so fast.
Too fast.
4th of July is over. Now we're already counting down the days to July 23rd, which is the first public day of practice. Quarterbacks and rookies will be in the 18th. I mean, what's today, the 8th?
Yeah.
We're talking 10 days from now.
I know.
10 days from now, and that's it. Summer's over for us. Sucks.
I'm trying to fight the part of me that is excited to get going. Like I want to try. I'm taking some various days off over the next couple weeks. Still trying to be here for the show, but I'm excited. Like I want to get going. Like I know that once you get going, you're going, and so that's
Once you get going,
you're going. But there's a lot to be excited about this year, I feel like, and a lot of different stuff to watch in training camp, a whole new defense to watch. So trying to enjoy my vacation while I still can, but it's hard not to feel that energy coming, that there's going to be renewed sense for this Patriots team, I hope.
Problem is it just got really nice out, like only in the last couple
I know.
weeks, you know?
I know.
Like
We've
June
been waiting for this. Yeah.
June felt like such a wash, literally and figuratively, with weather, so I don't know. I'm soaking it up all I can. I'm excited, but I'm like,
You know what you're soaking
chill
up is
out.
the humidity, because I cannot. You go outside and you're just it feels so gross out.
I'm trying to do some indoor painting, and you have to keep everything like cool and dry. So I'm running the AC.
but at the same time, you have to open the windows, like ventilate
fumes,
out
right?
those
Fumes.
fumes.
I'm good with that. I like the high.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just sniffing paint.
Yeah, I like the high. But anyway, enough of that. Some Patriots news. We saw some evidence, photographic and video evidence of Drake and the guys getting together outside of OTAs on
lot
their
of the
own.
guys.
I love it, including Stephon Diggs. So good stuff. I love that, getting together on their own and getting that camaraderie and timing and all that. That's really hopeful. Not that we're the only team that does that and the only quarterback that does that, but it's just good to see.
Yeah, based on rumors, I don't think I've seen anything that confirms this, but it looks like they might have been in North Carolina too, which makes me think that Drake is the one that kind of corralled everyone to go up there. So that's pretty cool.
His wedding was just over, and he's like, I got to get my
Get
boys
back to
down.
work.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, Ann Michael.
Yep.
Yeah.
Training camps are coming, but good things to see.
So did it look like more of a high school stadium or?
Kinda, right? Or
Wasn't
maybe like
in
a
a bowl or
smaller
anything.
college.
Yeah.
No, there are some bleachers there, but
Yeah,
then again, the high school stadiums down there are
that's
pretty
true.
wild too, right?
Yeah.
It's good though, a little leadership from Drake, maybe getting the
Yeah.
guys together,
Yep.
getting maybe refresher course before they get back here.
Yep.
It seemed like in my experience, Fred, like they really try to do almost the install stuff in the spring, and not that they like hit the ground running, but feels kind of like that once they get in. That it's maybe a little bit of review over those first couple of days when they're walk-through pace, I think, and then and then they'll get after it probably the second week. But yeah, good sign. Drake's get those guys going. Got to lead the team.
Yeah, and then NFL Network came out with their top 100 list. They do that annually, and Christian Gonzalez made
Not
the
yet.
list.
I don't know yet. I don't know officially yet. I
Oh,
think,
we don't know?
I think he might be in there. And
Well, I would imagine he would. No? Am I breaking news?
Jumping the gun a little bit? No, that is coming up though. I think Thursday.
Oh, Thursday they're announcing.
Thursday official premiere.
Okay.
So yeah, be
well,
on the
if there's
lookout.
anyone that makes it, it should be him, right?
Of course.
Heard it here first.
Yeah. Have to.
Okay.
Big
Cool.
year
We'll have
for him,
something to talk about Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What else? What else we got going?
Well, I was telling you about Wimbledon, Fred. I mean, I as much as I want there to be football news, I mean, I read like Reese's notes on Sunday, and I'm like, give me something, Mike. Give me something, And he's kind of going through like what we do, writing about the rookie profiles, and thought he had a little bit of insight on Julian Ashby as the long snapper. I think we were all like 7th rounder. Do you have to draft a guy in the 7th round? But it seemed like he had a lot of different interest, and I like what Mike wrote about him, just talking about his talent for getting the ball back really fast. I mean, I think that's similar to what they said about Joe Cardona in the day.
Yeah.
But what's that whole operation going to look like? I think that's a good question. With potentially a rookie long snapper, a rookie field goal kicker with Borregales. So some questions there along that group. Paul made fun of me. We did a little preview, and Paul's like, I don't know if there's a kicker battle, but I was like, well, but there's always something to watch at the end of practice when like last year when Jeremy Springer had. Like everybody gathers around and they're all hooting and hollering, and I mean, there's no space. And I like that stuff. I like seeing how they do under pressure. And Borregales, I think, missed 1 extra point his whole career there at Miami. So something new. Love to get some consistency at the kicker position for this team. It's been a while.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing people were talking about that, could be a roadblock for him is dealing with cold weather, because he didn't have to deal with a lot of that. Growing up in his career, but we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
If you have a strong leg and you're accurate, we'll figure that out. Yeah.
I spoke to a handful of his coaches, like Manny Diaz, and who coached him his freshman year. And one thing Manny said is it's not like they don't travel up north to play games, And I don't know. I'm really hyped up about Andy. I think he's not your prototypical kicker based on what I've heard and kind of just seeing how he interacts in the building already. Everyone told me, you're not just getting a kicker, you're getting a football player. He's a Miami kid. He has a swagger to him. He won't be just by himself kicking into a net on the sideline during a game. He's going to be on the sideline talking crap, just really hyping up his teammates.
These kickers are getting better and better, stronger and stronger. It won't be long before we have a 70-yard field goal. There's no
I believe
doubt.
it. I believe it.
Yeah.
No question about it. But I think he's the kind of player where rookie, you put maybe a little pressure on him early and see how he does. But what does it matter? I just don't feel do you really know if you can kick in the weather? When he was in high school, it was kind of cold.
Parcells used to have this water bottle, and he'd squirt the ball and get it wet, and he'd stand so his shadow would be over the ball, so the kicker is seeing Parcells' shadow on the ball. Anything to increase the pressure, and simulate pressure.
I know Adam Vinatieri is from South Dakota, but did he ever really have to make a kick like he made against the Raiders here? Oh no, he did 6 or 7 times in high school.
No, he didn't.
This one will be fine. You just have to have that swag. I don't know. That to me is worth a lot more. I mean, maybe when you get here in December and he needs to hit a game winner for the first time as a rookie. But I don't know, because Kostowski, I think, had the same concerns. Wasn't he from down south as well, a baseball guy? And I don't know if he had all
I feel like it's kind of just something to talk about.
Nah.
It's just a narrative thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, having played soccer, maybe your foot hurts a little more after you kick the ball in the freezing cold weather, but I don't know. I think it's a lot harder to kick in the wicked bad humidity.
I think the wind is the biggest thing, and,
right.
and that's something that any outdoor stadium, it's every one of them is different. The wind patterns here are different than Giants Stadium, different than Kansas City. you just have to get used to it.
Hopefully the new video board blocks a lot of that.
Well, it actually
breeze.
it creates a whole different wind pattern than
Right.
it used to be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember
study it
Bill
out, yeah.
talking about that.
Yeah.
Swirling. I mean,
He studied the wind pattern for how many years,
I-
and then they put a video board there. It was like,
I wonder though, like how much of a jump it is for an NFL kicker with the things that they talk about that goes into every kick. Because I've heard Jeremy Springer talk sometimes where the amount of detail that goes into every kick that they make, and I'm sure colleges are very detailed too. But what's it like making that jump to the NFL?
yeah.
It's like, to me, anything you did in college or high school doesn't matter till
Yeah.
you get here and
Yeah.
you do it here.
Well, and again, like you said, there's a lot of little details that, the operation. And this will be the first year in a long time we've had a long snapper, like you said, other than Joe Cardona. So that's, to me, that's priority number one.
Yeah.
Is get that operation down.
It seems like the two of them, though, are really tight already. They
Yep.
spend a lot of time together. And one thing that's promising for me is that I don't think Andy is coming in here with the expectation that it's going to be easy, because his older brother won the Lou Garza Award for the best kicker in the country in college. He was an All-American, and he got a tryout with the Bucks, but it didn't work out. So he knows how hard it is, really, to make it in this league and how much goes into that. So I think just having that perspective will be a really good thing ultimately.
Yeah, it's good.
Make your kicks. I mean, it's like every year there's new faces
That's it.
here, and it's funny too. You mentioned like those three guys are always like best buddies forever, right? It's like the punter, the long snapper, and the kicker. They're always
Right.
together, but like there's gonna be some change this year, and like you get a new friend one year.
Yeah.
It's somebody like Chad Ryland was part of that group 2 years ago, and now
Totally.
he's out. Joey Sly's in the group now.
Yep.
You always see that.
Jake
that
Bailey
little
before
three
that.
season, right? Right.
Yeah, it's a interesting position in sports. You see these kickers, they get hot, and then they get cold, and then they get cut, and then they hook up with another team, and then they were good again for a while.
Yep.
It's so weird. Yeah.
I mean, you talk about the detail, though. I mean, going back to like Ashby's snap speed, it's like those are the things that go into a successful operation in the NFL in a game of, tenths of seconds, hundredths of seconds. It's important.
I still say one of the best long snappers I've ever seen was Lonnie Paxton.
Yeah.
I mean, he was incredibly accurate. He could long snap from the 20-yard line and hit the goalpost like every time. It was uncanny how accurate he was.
Is that the most random position in all of professional sports?
It
like,
is.
and it's
Yeah.
always the same story too, where like, I don't know, I was in high school and somebody just asked me to snap it and I rifled it back there and I'm like, wow, you really got talent. And then I just became specialized as a long snapper. Like, there's no other position. I mean, I can't think of another position in professional sports.
Well, like
where
if
it's
you want to play college football and you're maybe not as
Right.
genetically gifted as others, like what else?
Stephen Belichick.
I
Yeah,
think
right.
that's what Cardona's dad kind of
Yeah,
had him
totally.
doing, right?
Right,
If I
totally.
remember that story
Yeah,
correctly,
you're
his,
right.
his dad was like, all right, man, like if you want to play in
You're
the
good at long
NFL, this is
snapping."
your one and only avenue, so you better get really good at
Smart
this.
father.
It's like looking at my
Yeah.
kids and I'm like, snap it. Like, I'm like, are they good? I don't know. But
Well,
like
it's
you
like it's
said.
such an undesirable position on the team, right? And I think back to like youth soccer and stuff, like parents in the United States at least would get upset if their child was thrown in the goal.
Uh-huh,
But
yeah,
really,
yeah.
the goalie is usually the most athletic player. They can jump the highest. They're the quickest reaction, and that's the best way to get a soccer scholarship.
Yeah.
And in Europe, the goalies are like worshipped, So it's so funny. It's like if I wanted my kid to get a college scholarship, a girl, she'd be either soccer goalie or playing golf.
Well, I would go
And-
golf, Alex. Because if you go soccer goalie, you're signing up for pressure, and you're
I
gonna
know.
be watching that like college game,
And
and
those-
you're gonna go to kicks, and you're gonna be like, oh my god, no,
Oh, I know.
please God, don't,
Totally,
don't be my
totally.
kid's fault, please.
And those soccer camps are so damn expensive, and those club teams. I guess golf's expensive
don't
too,
get
but
started about the club teams and all this stuff.
I know, that's a
it's
tangent
pay to
for
play
us.
and all that. It's crazy how parents are just getting swindled. And the new thing now is it's not just the clubs, it's the personal training. It's sending these kids to facilities that do that. My son was one of them that trained kids.
yeah.
So he knows, like, they spend money.
I was doing a little networking at the #sports award, and there was a guy there who he lived in Massachusetts for a while, and his daughter played soccer. And we were just talking about how like the club sticker on the back of the SUV is like the new status symbol for parents. Like what club team your kid is playing on. Like it's the new Birkin bag. If
Yeah.
you have that sticker on the back of your Tahoe or
it's no
your
longer
Wagoneer.
My kid goes to Harvard. It's
Nope.
they play on the crabs. you
Yeah.
know?
Oh, I know. Yeah.
FC
Oh, yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, I know. I've got a friend who does lacrosse like that thing too. He's on the Red Hots, I think. I don't know. I just see it on social media where it's like, you're traveling all over the country with this kid who's like 12. I don't know. Is he going to get a scholarship
fun.
or what? I mean, I see it in hockey too. It's
I know.
scams.
And
Yeah.
like the public high,
Parents' money.
not to go down the rabbit hole, but the public high school hockey teams especially, just like, how do they even like uniform a team? Because all the kids go to like these
I know.
private schools or
I
play
know.
juniors or clubs. It's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, my best friend's son was going to was at private school, and he's going to now go to Dedham High School next year, and he's going to get a chance to play.
Yeah.
Actually play on the hockey team and stuff, and that's why they made that decision. You know, I mean, some of these private schools have like 12 different teams.
If you're that
I
good,
know.
if you're that good, you'll
You'll
get
get
noticed.
noticed.
You'll figure it
100%.
out. If you're that good.
100%.
Yep. All right. Another thing I wanted to ask, because I don't think I saw the results, but how did the Cape Cod newsletter feedback go? Did people give you responses to that? How did it, like,
I got some people on Twitter saying they loved it.
did people use our recommendations?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I actually was at a restaurant with my family. We make an annual tradition the week of 4th of July, going to the Lobster Pot in Provincetown. And I saw a guy there with a Patriots hat on, and I was like, I wonder if he read our newsletter. Did he get this recommendation from the newsletter?
There you go.
Yeah, if you guys have checked out any of our spots, let us know.
Yeah.
I haven't yet. I got to get down there. I haven't been down on the Cape yet this summer. It's,
Well,
yeah.
be grateful you weren't there.
Well, let me tell you
this
something.
Week. It was
it was crazy.
insane.
So
Yeah.
a lot of people for July 4th got there early, but they left on Saturday. So
Yes.
Saturday was crazy.
Yeah.
And then Sunday, it looked like the traffic wasn't bad, but then all of a sudden, late Sunday night,
Yeah, that's
people decided, okay, we're going to leave late, and everybody had the same idea.
Now, downtown Sandwich probably gets mobbed
Oh,
with
yeah.
people
6A.
thinking.
Oh,
People
yeah.
probably think they can circumvent
Right.
the 6
Oh, yeah.
traffic and
Right-
go through
right by my
downtown
house.
Sandwich,
Yeah.
and then you're just in a parking lot
Yeah,
on a
so
side street.
like 9:30 at night, like all of a sudden, like I hear all like, you know, it's slow because they're in a traffic jam. I hear people's radios, and I look out the window, and the road is just. This is 9:30 at night on a Sunday night. Everybody had the same idea.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll leave later on
Yeah.
Sunday.
It'll
Miss
be
the
better.
traffic.
And it was mad.
There was no
it was a
good time
madhouse.
to leave, really.
Yeah.
I blame TikTok.
Unless you leave early in the morning.
I
If you
feel
leave
like-
early in the morning, you're
Get up
good.
and go.
I feel like our New England culture is being appropriated by people because, like, when I go to the Cape, my
Culture is
whole
being
life.
appropriated by people.
New England by non-New Englanders, and I saw a lot of videos about people talking about like what the Hamptons used to be and what it is now because of the influencers, and I think that's slowly happening to the Cape because like I maybe pack one nice outfit when I go to the Cape, and then it's just like maybe because it's a vacation with my dad, I'm in like track shorts,
Yeah,
t-shirts,
get comfortable.
and a bathing suit, like super comfy, super casual, like that's Cape Cod. Like you don't need to be in a prom dress to go get ice cream. And I'm walking around seeing these people like cosplaying New Englanders with their Ralph Lauren sweater with
pop
the
the
American.
collar.
Take a shot for every time you see a sweater with an American flag draped over someone's like shoulders, and people are just dressed to the nines, and I'm like, you're not. This is your first time at the Cape. This is your first time
Right.
at the Cape, you know. And it's just, but every place just lines out the door. So it's like people are sharing our hidden gems on TikTok, and they're becoming bombarded. That's my grievance
Listen,
of
it's
last
good for,
week.
It's good for the
It's great.
the local owners.
I know.
It is.
Well,
Well,
it
my
is.
aunt and uncle said this is probably one of their busiest summers in over 30 years of having this coffee shop. It was just
You should
insane.
set up a little stand, Fred, in front of your house, and sell waters, and people are starting to try. Maybe have a portal at there,
Lemonade
porta
stand.
potty, get somebody to jump out.
Spiked lemonade
have
stand.
a whole little, little Kirsch's rest stop.
Yeah.
Soap for the
Charge
slot.
people $40 to park in your driveway.
right. Too tired? If you lived here, you'd be home now.
Yeah, set up tents in your front yard. There you go. No vacancy. There's vacancy in my front yard.
Well, see, everything you just said is why people like Fred are like, after Labor Day, they're like, this is the best time of the
Local
year.
summer. That's what it's called. Local summer in September.
Things are still open, but
Yep.
there's nobody around anymore.
Totally.
and,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good spot.
All right. We got a lot of emails coming in. That's great.
That's
Thank
great.
you for listening and watching on this off-season show. Calls are coming in. We're going to get to those. 855-PATS-500 is the hotline. podcasts@patriots.com is the way to email us. We talked about the newsletter. You should subscribe to the newsletter. You can do that by going to patriots.com/PU newsletter. That's patriots.com/PU newsletter, and you can subscribe to that. It comes out every Friday or so. We get that out there, and so that's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
A lot of
Good
behind-the-scenes
questions.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you like my take the tunnel tip for? It's a little inside joke for Cape Cod. Take the tunnel if it's a Travis shootout.
Yeah. I hope a lot of people didn't actually try that.
Drive right into the canal.
Right.
How many cars did they find in the canal
Right.
this year?
I think this is the tunnel.
And we're sponsored by Brunt, one of our many sponsors. They're based right here in New England. Their workwear makes work boots and apparel that are built for the job site. Their gear is comfortable, I can attest to that, durable, and named after the real workers in the trades that helped design it. You can even try Brunt out on the job, and if it doesn't blow you away, they let you send it right back. So you can save $10 on your first order at bruntworkwear.com/Pats or with coupon code PATS. So get your Brunt workwear.
You're not wearing that stuff while you're painting, though, Fred, right? You're not going to get
Well,
any paint
like
on
the
your
work
new
boots are
shoes.
so nice, I don't want to get
I
them
know,
all
they are
Get
too
them all
nice.
dirty. That's why I'm like, they're so nice. I don't want to get them
Yeah.
dirty, but they look like they're made to work.
But
so-
they are comfortable.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They are.
I wore mine to the casino. They're fresh.
Yeah.
Stomping.
How'd you do at the casino?
Not great.
What were you playing?
Just a slot machine. I put 40 in a slot machine, and that's it. Sit there, get the free drinks. I'm an old lady.
That's
I
good.
know, but
That's
like,
a good move, though.
I like
Free
playing roulette because you can really get a couple hours there and not lose a lot of money.
Yeah.
I don't trust myself at the tables.
Yeah.
Not even like blackjack?
Nope, stay away. I do not trust myself. Bad experiences in college. I lost hundreds that I had. Don't want to ever.
I feel
do it
like
again.
blackjack's the best win probability.
Oh,
Like,
it
I read
is.
that somewhere.
It is for sure. Yeah, roulette is a sucker's bet, but if you spread it out and you don't piss off other people. I played blackjack once,
Oh, I
and
know.
I do. People were like getting mad at
Right.
me, because I'm not doing what I'm supposed
You're
to
going to take
do.
their card or
You
something.
can easily lose $500 in 30 seconds of blackjack. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I know.
Craps. You guys know how to play craps? I've had craps explained to me like 7 different times, but it looks fun.
Yeah.
Seems like that's a good game too. That you have a good chance to win some money if you know what you're doing. But
Yeah. All right. Well, we're not allowed to gamble anyway, so.
Good, because I'm useless in a casino.
me too.
Okay. Any NFL news coming out? I heard something today that Mahomes was being interviewed on a podcast,
Oh, yeah.
and he was talking about his relationship with Tom Brady, and he said, we've always talked, but this offseason they've talked more than ever, it seems, and Brady's been giving him a lot of good advice, and I'm like, oh, that's nice. Then I'm thinking to myself, well, the headline here is if you're a Raiders fan, aren't you a little mad about that? Your minority owner is giving your biggest competitor tips and advice.
Yeah, I
Like
thought the same
that's
thing.
kind of weird.
Conflict
I thought.
of interest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like it used to be.
It is, and it seems like there's a lot of these popping up of like Tom Brady, and he's everywhere now, which is great. But it's also like that's exactly what I thought too with Mahomes.
He was at the Bezos wedding
right,
too.
right. Like poor Geno Smith's like, you want to give me some advice there, Mr. Owner? How about that?
Yeah.
Right.
But one thing I will say too, though, is I thought Mahomes actually looked in pretty good shape. A lot of people gave him crap last year. There was like the first shot of him walking in, first day of Chiefs camp, and he looked had a little bit of a dad belly.
Yep.
But he looked like he was in shape. It's like you're getting one of those seasons where, like the Patriots in the middle of their great run, where every season you didn't get a Super Bowl was just a missed opportunity, and it would, kind of. I think 2009 was a year that like that really cut them bad, where they realized like we really got to make some changes. But even like 12, 13, where they're like AFC Championship, but just falling slow. It's just you've got a window of time, and
Right.
it's so frustrating. And I could kind of sense that with Mahomes of like, yeah, we stumbled last year. We're hearing everybody talk, and I mean they've reloaded really well. We'll see how they do.
Yeah. All right.
Tom Brady. I saw a great Tom Brady video actually again on like the TikTok feed, but it was just like him talking about mechanics and throwing mechanics and going through it, and it was like it's just poetry in motion watching that guy throw a football, how refined he is. And I think the question in the video was, what's one thing that bugs you about when you see high school and college quarterback mechanics? And he said a lot of it, like not to get too technical, but a lot of it is like you're trying to pull your left shoulder in your head and you end up being less accurate, where you rotate around your body. And he said, the Tom House thing is you're eating a hamburger with this hand. So it's just really cool. I mean, it's like watching Kristen Gonzalez.
He used to tuck the towel.
Yeah.
I'm a lefty, and he would do it on his right side because he would tuck his towel under his left arm,
keep that arm
just to keep that arm close so that it, doesn't create that extra motion. And like you said, the more motion you create, the less accurate you're going to be. You want to be efficient.
It's like it probably happens to everybody where you find a video comes across your feed and you're like, oh, that's interesting, and then it was like a coach who had a lot of different quarterback mechanics videos, and then he had one with Aaron Rodgers as well, and Aaron Rodgers talking about as he got older, really focusing on his feet and planting his feet in the ground and generating power from the ground and not trying to generate power yourself, but it all coming from the base in your legs. And again, it goes back to talk about long snapper mechanics. Like these guys, when you get to this level, like every inch matters. If you're a defender, if you take one wrong step this way, they got you. Mm-hmm. If you're a quarterback and the ball's here instead of here, it's incomplete. Like that's how much minutia goes into what these guys try to refine.
Well, Rodgers was amazing, or probably not as much, but the amount of power he would generate with so little motion.
Yeah.
Like he would, it looked like a flick.
Just fling it.
It was just amazing. And that's why a lot of people, in his prime would say, he's the best pure quarterback.
Yeah.
Forget about game management and mental part, but just the mechanics, he was the best.
Yeah. It's cool. I mean, it's something to watch, with Drake. And I mean, that's, seeing Cam Newton and seeing Mac, and you get a large sample size of these guys, and everybody's got their own way to do it. But I'd like to see Drake continuing to refine those things, because with Brady, you can tell it's just muscle memory now. Everything to him is already built in. He knows exactly what to do. The other thing he was talking about too was just the answers to the test stuff. And he just said, he was talking about Kansas City's defense, and he's like, I knew those guys inside and out. And so when I'm walking out of the huddle and I see their body language and where they're kind of standing, I already know they're gonna show pressure and then bail to cover two. He's like, that was my superpower. My superpower was mentally knowing what the defense was going to be doing, and if this play we had on wasn't going to work, I would adjust it so in a way that I thought it would work. And that coupled with
everybody makes the analogy to chess.
Yeah.
And he was like a chess master. He had seen so many things and played so many games that whatever the configuration, that he's seen it before.
Yep.
Just like a chess master. They can look at the board and they can see the configuration, and they can think 3-4 moves ahead. Mm-hmm. And that's the way he was. And unparalleled mental capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah. You only get that experience with the longevity he had, which he also worked at.
Yeah, right. Well,
like everything just was to level 100 with him, every single detail.
That's what I wondered with Mahomes is, did part of what they're talking about tie to, Brady, when Brady, maybe even a little before. I just remember the 06 season when all of a sudden he started wearing like a strap around his forearm, and you're like, what's going on there? And, he talked about that being something that popped up that Alex Guerrero helped him with, like getting, like he thought he was going to have to deal with like tennis elbow the rest of his life, but Alex Guerrero got in there and massaged it out enough times that it got that well. But maybe that's something that he's talking to Mahomes about. Like, look, you realize you have a window of opportunity. How can you maximize it? And of course, everyone knows if Patrick Mahomes gets hurt, Kansas City, they change dramatically instantly. Yeah. So maybe that's what Mahomes is focusing on here as he gets up and later in his career.
Let's see. This is not a good email.
Yeah.
Matt writes in, and I don't know where he's from. Eric wouldn't like that. Were you guys talking about wins?
QB wins?
Yeah, I don't know why, but a couple people are talking about 8 wins, and he says 8 wins would suck. It doesn't matter anymore that they won 4 games in 23 and 24 than them winning 8 and 22 and 7 and 20. All those years sucked. How it looks is what matters. And if May is decent and the defense doesn't suck, they'll win 10. 8 wins sounds good, but every 8-win team has either a bad quarterback play or bad defense, neither of which should be acceptable. 10 wins sounds like a stretch, but it's surprisingly easy to win 10 in the NFL. A top 20 defense and just a decent quarterback play from May should be enough. I predict everyone saying 8 wins is good enough will be saying, yeah, that was absolutely true, but I'm disappointed the defense looks so bad, and I didn't expect that in December.
Yeah. I hear what he's saying. I mean, of course, we say on the show all the time, you got to see what it actually looks like. is there an 8-win season that you're like, yeah, but they did it without Harold Landry, or Spillane went down in week 3 and the defense.
There's going to be a
rallied,
reason why you're about 500.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So if maybe a key injury didn't happen, then they maybe would have been a 10-win team. I mean, I kind of agree though. I think you see almost every year a team bounces back because they have a good offseason. They maybe get some guys back healthy, and then they're playing a last place schedule. And you look at the Patriots schedule this year, and look, there's going to be some battles, no question. I mean, like, you look at that start with how Pittsburgh looks now with some of the talent that they've gotten, that every game is going to be a battle for that team. But, would it be shocking to see them with that schedule? And if they stay healthy to get to 10 wins, I don't think it will. But this is part of the excitement, is wanting to see what it looks like. That's like, well, tell me the stories, like all the different narratives that we're following. It's just kind of before the season, just to put it in a box and be like, 9 wins, that's what it was. Just seems so surface level that there's going to be so much going on that's going to contribute either way.
Let's go to Nate, who is in Connecticut. What's up, Nate? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
Good.
Nate?
My question for you is about Kalevian Chaseon. Sorry if I butchered the name a bit. But he was recently out spotted in Las Vegas training with Max Crosby. And it was like a Twitter quote that he was very motivated going into the season. How do you guys think he's going to perform as like a free agent signing for the team? Thanks, guys.
Okay, thanks, Nate.
Kalevian, as he told us.
Yeah.
I think he's a key player. I mean, in a perfect world, he's a designated pass rusher, somewhat like he was last year. We had him on the show and asked him about. He had 5 sacks last year in one season, which was his total after being a first-round pick with the Jaguars. And he said, well, it's easier when you're going across from Max Crosby, and he's drawing all that attention. So I think the question for me lies within, is Keon White good enough on early downs that he can kind of bookend with Harold Landry? Or is he not quite there yet, and they need to play Chase on a little bit earlier in downs and have him on as a first and second? I don't think that's the best use of him. I think ideally he's your third down.
Well, hopefully
off the edge.
you get other teams into those have to pass situations.
Yeah, and then just let him unleash him.
Young fans may not remember Jarvis Green. But, he was no superstar by any means, but he was a really, really effective situational pass rusher for this team.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
I mean, along those lines, in the 09 season when Seymour goes, and then Jarvis Green has to step in to be an early down guy, not quite as effective. And I feel similarly with Chase on. I think a lot of it depends on the two rookies. Can somebody emerge and bring some juice as well on third down? So those guys, there's some question marks for sure. And I would put health at the top of it. When you have some veteran players like Landry and Chase on, you need those guys to stay healthy. You need Keon White to take a step forward, and then I think they'll have enough on defense. But I've said it before, I think next year that's the position to really probably focus on. Of course, number one receiver, you're always on the lookout for those, but get into the draft. What do the edge guys look like? Is there the kind of guy that we could really build around coming off the edge?
Anthony's in Seattle. Hey, Anthony.
Hey, what's up, Fred? What's up, my people?
Hey, Anthony.
Hey.
Hey, I got a bone to pick with you guys.
Okay, pick it.
All right. So when a player comes into the studio to join the show, I would think that you guys would use that as an opportunity to be rude and disrespectful right to the guy's face. Now, I'm sure that's the type of thing that improves your standing with the team and makes more players want to come and join the show. So I don't get why, Pop Douglas, a young, productive wide receiver for this team, and I love Pop Douglas. Would it have been too much to ask for, somebody to stand up and, I don't know, spit in the guy's face or something, At bare minimum, a fist fight, right? No, obviously, I'm kidding. Those of you who first-time listeners out there, the PU crew does not disrespect the players. Hey, one quick thing. I'll get off the phone. It's a rules thing, off-season thing. What do you guys think of? I know you guys have talked about it on the show in the past. We all kind of get a little bit annoyed at the defensive, the illegal contact or the defensive holding, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down thing. And I always thought, what if they changed that to a not automatic first down, but a 10-yard penalty? Because because I think the best rule changes are the ones that don't really change the game in the bulk of it. Like, it doesn't really change what's happening on the field, except for the few situations where you would like for it to be different. And so it's not necessarily like the a 3rd and 7, a 3rd and 6, which are a lot more common. It's usually less than 10 yards on 3rd down anyway, so a 10-yard penalty is going to give you the first down. But it's the 3rd, and, when you got a sack on 1st down, and so a 2nd and 17, then it's 3rd and 14, 3rd and 13, and then like a sometimes ticky-tack, holding or something with a 5-yard penalty. That's going to like wipe out the good defensive play that the defense made. You know what I mean? And so I would like to see, when the 3rd and 14s come up, okay, holding or illegal contact, now it's 3rd and 4.
Yeah, but aren't you going to coach that? Like, hey, if it's 3rd and 14, 3rd and whatever, over 10 yards, hey, if you think you're beat, hold them.
It's only 10 yards.
But then, why would you? Because now you're putting yourself in the 3rd and 4 as opposed to.
But at least at least you have another chance to live. At least you have another 3rd down play instead of you get beat and it's a 1st down.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I hear what you're saying. I've heard some other people have said the same idea, make it a 10-yard penalty instead of an automatic 1st down. But that's the precise reason why it is an automatic 1st down, is to decentivize teams from using that as a crutch when you get beat. And it's the same thing with pass interference.
Yeah.
In college, it's a 15-yard penalty. In the pros, it's a spot foul and a 1st down, because they don't want guys dragging players down when they get beat. They want to take that away. They want to reward the player who does the beating. They want to reward the player who got open, instead of having an out for someone on a really long play to just tackle the guy and it's a 15-yard penalty. And I would coach that.
Yeah,
I would say don't.
Especially on the Hail Marys.
Yeah, those big plays. Yeah,
it's a big Hail Mary. You think he's going to catch it?
Right.
Just grab him.
Right. Just it's 15 yards. Okay.
Yeah,
we'll live to play another down instead of getting toasted like that. So I get the reasoning for the way the rules are now. I also understand the frustration. Oh man, he held the guy, and like otherwise it was could it have been called? Yeah, but did it have to be called? No, and especially when it's against your team. I understand, but I hesitate to change the rule.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, I mean, there's unintended consequences, I think, for a lot of these rule changes, and you laid it out perfectly with that, because that seems like an easy one, and especially when you're just so frustrated when, someone like Joe Flacco just chucks a ball down the air like 40 yards, and it's like not even really that close. The guy didn't really have a chance, but well, there's a flag, and it's just now it's a 40-yard play.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw the Patriots take advantage of it with Brandon Cooks even too.
Yeah.
Having a guy that you can get downfield, and if he's not going to catch it, he might draw a PI too.
Now, what I do think they should do is make every call, including those, reviewable.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know it's a lot more tough to say, okay, did that play keep him from catching the ball? It's a little bit more subjective, but I do think like Belichick agrees, every call should be reviewable. That doesn't mean you increase the number of reviews that any one team has. If you use it, you lose it if you're wrong, regardless. So you don't get any more reviews, but every play, every flag should be reviewable, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a good long-running argument. Paulie's against that, right? I seem to remember him being like,
he just thinks, there's too many reviews.
Yeah, it'll take too long. But there's enough stoppage already.
This doesn't increase that.
Yeah.
Right.
It's still the same amount of reviews for each team.
And there's already so much stoppage of play with TV timeouts and everything they stop the game for.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think it would make that much of a difference.
Might be jarring though if big call is made, you go to a commercial, then you come back and they're like, and while you're a break, the call has been overturned, and that didn't happen anymore. Like those. Like, that's how you'd like it to work. We're not like, all right, we got to take a whole timeout to see this. Like, it just kind of happens on the fly, right? Like, someone's reviewing it as it's happening, that kind of thing, rather than official timeout.
Well, it can be both. You can have assistants from New York or wherever, but I think the sideline should be able to, call a review for any play.
That N'Keal Harry one against the Chiefs, remember that, where he stepped out of bounds and they called him out of bounds and he didn't step out of bounds? I think that his whole career could have been different if
I doubt that, but it's a good example. There was clear evidence that he had scored.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I believe, like, if you've got the technology, use it.
Me too.
And have smart people using the technology.
Yeah.
Don't have dummies using the technology.
Well, like I said, I've been watching Wimbledon, and now they have, I think it's funny how, like, there'll be a close call, And then like as the person's walking back to set up to serve, it's like a giant screen right in front of them of like the
Showing
ball
it.
just out. You know, it's kind of like rubbing it in, making you feel worse about it. But
Yeah, the one thing I wonder about, that technology is there a possibility that the calibration could be off? No,
right,
seriously.
right. Yeah, no, I know. I think about it all the time. Like, is it really that's that exact?
Yeah,
Like,
because when they represent it graphically, it's not an actual video. It's a representation
Right.
of what
Right.
the call was. So of course that's always going to be in line with the initial call. So I just wonder about the calibration. But I think, like I've said before in baseball, balls and strikes should be automated. There's no reason not to. The technology's there. I know they're going to institute this challenge thing, which I think is ridiculous. Have every ball and strike be automated. And that doesn't mean someone loses their job. You still need the for infractions, for balks, for calls at the plate, for all that other stuff, whether or not he got hit by a pitch or something. But balls and strikes should be automated. The technology's there, and I think it'd be so much better for the game.
Yeah.
Well, both those games. Like,
It's such a thing that's so black and white too. Like it's not like
Right.
there's anything up to
Right.
interpretation. There's a strike zone.
Right. Well, every player has a different strike zone, and you get measured before the season. And when Alex comes up to the plate, her strike zone is punched in, and there we go.
yeah. Just no more yelling at umps and
Yeah.
umpires
Yeah,
for bad
ejections would
calls
go
anymore.
down so
No more
much.
ejections.
And I think, like a lot of people said, oh, hitting's going to go down. Well, no, I think players are now going to have to swing more. They're going to have to protect the plate more. They're going to have to be more aggressive. I think
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing. Anyway, we're crossing sports here. Michelle, who loves it when I call her Shalada, is writing in. She says she has zero expectations on wins. I'm much more interested in how it looks. Are they playing better? Is May taking steps forward? How's the coaching? Can they grasp McDaniel's offense? However, I feel optimistic about Vrabel. Feels like he's coaching with a purpose and a plan. And I haven't felt that since Brady left. Because honestly, Bills last year's weren't all that and a bag of chips either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very reasonable, logical, balanced take.
That gets, I think, to the heart of why I'm kind of excited because, 2020 was COVID, and yes, Bill was here, but even he said we're kind of resetting this year. 21 there was a little juice. The free agency class drafting Mac Jones, even though it didn't work out at the time, it felt like,
good
hey,
that
we're taking
season.
a swing on a first round quarterback, and this is what you have to do if you want to get out of the basement. But I get what Shalada is saying about. I think there were just always questions other than 21 where it felt like maybe they're back if Mac hits, and even going into 22 you felt a little bit like maybe they did have the ammunition to get back to that point. But this year feels unique to me, just as far as
I was talking to somebody who I won't mention on the inside, and they are very, very excited about this season.
Yeah. I mean, part of it too is just that I really feel this is going to be a tough team. Like it's going to be a team that plays really hard and is just going to be fun to root for, especially on the defensive side of the ball where, you've got players who can really get after quarterbacks and really make guys uncomfortable. And, those things to me, I mean, 2019 was one of the greatest Patriots defenses of all time. So I've seen good defense around here in my term, but I think this defense is going to be a little bit different and exciting to watch, fun to watch them play. The intensity, you just watch Robert Spillane run onto the field for practice, and you're like, oh boy, like this guy, he's ready to go. And that was like OTAs. I can only imagine what it's going to be like, joint practices, which just writing the previews, I'm like, man, you get to see Gonzalez versus Justin Jefferson in practice. Like, Terry McLaurin against Gonzalez in practice.
Let's go.
Like one-on-one reps, maybe like the best wide receiver in the league, maybe, versus one of the best cornerbacks in the league. Those kind of things are going to be really exciting to watch, too.
Yep. Justin writes in, and he's talking about people that we have in studio guests as well. He says, I want to call out Jared, or whatever his name was from Thursday's show, who called about Pop and making a clown of himself. Hey, bud, the guys aren't going to sit and talk trash to Pop's face when they're having him on for a fun player interview. Also, none of the guys have ever said Pop will not make the roster or shouldn't be on the roster. In the end, instead of hanging up your call like a baby back bitch, maybe you should listen to the PU crew and hear them out instead of being so stubborn and realize that Greg Bedard isn't on this podcast. Have a great day. So there you go.
So two shots at that call.
Yeah.
Yeah, that call did bother me a little bit just because I really like Pop Douglas. I mean, I don't think
Absolutely.
you're wrong to question, if he's got the size to hold up at high volume in the slot, but the speculation that he might not be on the team, like that's the farthest thing from my mind, especially after watching him in OTAs. And I mean, I think there was a little question of, is he, the kind of guy that Josh loves and wants to feed the ball, but it looked like it in OTAs. And we've just been, like I said on the show on Thursday, we've been so desperate for wide receivers. This is like the one guy that they've drafted, that they've hit on, that's contributed, that had a good year last year, who's a great personality in the locker room, and somehow we want him gone. I'm like, I don't get that jump. I mean, I'm excited to have that guy on the team, and I think he's gonna have a good year.
I think he's a weapon with the ball in his hand. I really do. I think, especially up to last year, he was the one guy where you could say he's dynamic.
He's he's
the ball.
hard cover.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
a hard man-to-man cover, and that's such a big people call in. None of our guys can get off coverage. He's one guy that can get off coverage.
Yeah.
They might have to protect him and scheme him a little bit, but no player is perfect.
Yep.
I think Anthony said too, he was kind of just kidding. Like,
Oh, no, Anthony was being
Anthony
tongue-in-cheek. There was a
This
call
was the-
Thursday.
okay.
Oh, Thursday,
I was off,
he was like,
off the grid
Anthony
on
was
Thursday.
making fun of that
Got
call.
it.
Yeah,
Got
right.
it.
And honestly, it kind of felt like somebody who knew Pop Douglas maybe a little bit and was standing up for their guy a little bit. Maybe, I don't know. That just, to me, it seemed a little bit out of left field or right field.
I feel like we've been unanimously positive about Pop. I know I've said on the show,
it was more so, hey, if you're going to say that here, why don't you say it when he's on the show and say it to his face and say what?
Yeah. And our PR staff that's sitting outside the window would just love to see that, I'm sure.
But yeah, even if somebody here did think like Pop was on the bubble, you're not going to get him on the show and say, now Pop, you're probably on the bubble.
Right.
That's not why he's here.
He's also just like such a little puppy of a guy. Like he's impossible to hate. He's so unintentionally funny and just, I don't know.
And he can play.
And you see Vrabel light up when he talks about him. You know?
No,
everybody does.
He's great.
But he can play. He's not a number one, like in every
No.
other hold that. But he's a very good player and a player that I think in a role they're going to need this year. I don't know how many catches he's going to have, but you watch the guy play. He can get open.
The thing is, like, if you call a player a number 3 or a number 4 receiver, depending on the team, it can be a compliment or not a good thing.
Yeah.
If you've got bad offense and your number 1 receiver should be a number 3 receiver, well, then your number 4 receiver probably isn't that good.
Yeah.
But if you're on a good team, a high productive offense, your 4th receiver is probably pretty productive.
Totally.
So context means everything.
And to Mike's point, just how many receivers in the last 10, 15 years have we drafted, developed, and have been productive for us?
Right.
He stands alone. I mean,
Yep.
we talked to some undrafted guys, but that's where I think Josh comes in. I think that's what's exciting. We give Drake May and some of these guys a little bit of a pass last year because of the situation on offense when you had a lot of new coaches doing it for the first time. So I don't think it's unreasonable to expect that you might see a jump from a lot of these guys this year. I mean, you're certainly hoping for it with Drake May, that he's going to take to Josh McDaniel's system and really be able to run that the way it needs to be run. And I think Pop Douglas is going to be a big part of this year.
Todd and Garner says, sorry to Paul since I missed the Thursday, June 26th show where he and Evan had already answered my question. That was the day my dad passed. Oh, sorry about that. And sorry to Kirsch, I had to drop my call on Thursday because my brother wrote the obituary using ChatGPT, and I had to rework the entire damn thing. Wow. Yeah.
There's a lot of things that you can outsource to ChatGPT. Like,
I don't know about obituary.
I don't think that's one of them.
Yeah.
It's one of my new books. I'm reading an AI book just about the future of AI and how to use it. And a lot of mistakes. You got to be very careful if you're going to lean on that thing. But
we saw it on this show, remember? Paul was fact-checking it about, I think we were looking up draft classes, and ChatGPT said this is the best draft class, and then it listed all the players, and one of those players we didn't even draft. So
I had to school them on this podcast. Remember that whole exchange?
Yeah.
Anywho, with respect to the main thing that has you looking forward to the next season, what has me seeing, May, is McDaniel's offense. This is the litmus test for me to see just how high the ceiling will be for Drake. Can he utilize the instruction and opportunities that Josh will give him? If yes, I see the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I think Josh's offense is going to give Drake a chance to reach his potential, whatever that might be. There's going to be more on him this year. Evan talks about making calls at the line. I mean, mentally, there's going to be a greater load on him mentally. And that's why my big thing is, can he execute at the end of games when the game is on the line? So, is that mental load he's got to deal with over the course of the game, is that going to wear him out? Is he going to be sharp at the end? These are the questions I think that are really going to come to the forefront this year with Drake May, if he's going to be the guy and not just, one of these guys who, wins you games and maybe you flirt with the playoffs, but really is a tough out for any team that he plays.
Yeah. Travis in West Virginia. Other than the ability, we were talking about kickers earlier. Other than the ability to make an occasional tackle, is it really necessary for our kicker to be a football player and a rah-rah guy? Much like the incessant talk of Kendrick Bourne's spunky personality, Alex seems to get caught up in these meaningless things.
I think your mentality in a position like that, where it's so much of it is mental, is very important.
Yeah. I mean, it's exactly what Jeremy Springer said this spring when we asked him about finding the new kicker. And he's like, I don't just want a kicker. I want a football guy. I want a guy who fits in with the locker room. I don't think anybody wants to look over at their kicker and see a nerd, just to see like, oh, God, here we go. The nerd's guy. You want a guy that...
Unless he can kick 70-yard field goals. I don't care what
it's such a mental position. Like, it's like what they say about golf, like the game's played between your two ears. I think to an extent, kicking's kind of like that too.
I mean, I think there's a lot of carryover though, for as much as it might seem like kind of meaningless that he's a football guy. Like, I do think a guy like Adam Vinatieri is a football guy, and the other players respect that, and there's a confidence around your special teams that goes with that kind of player. You can't always manufacture what a player's personality is going to be, but if you have to pick, you want a guy who can tackle Herschel Walker and then walk off the field and be like, our kicker just tackled Herschel Walker. That means a lot to these guys who obviously have much more physical challenges.
Well, and I think being one of the guys helps you when you do miss that kick.
Right, exactly.
Right.
If your guys if your teammates actually like you, like that's some things his coaches told me. He's just as likely to be best friends with the starting linebacker as he is the long snapper. And like you said, you can get isolated really quickly. It's a very lonely position at kicker. So much is contingent on how you perform. So if your guys actually like you and they're behind you and they believe in you, that just only takes your confidence even higher.
Nick Folk, everybody.
But I know it's meaningless.
No, it's lonely for everybody except the kicker, the punter, and the long snapper. The little trio, and they walk out with their bag and the boss stuff.
Travis would also like to point out, Fred, that you began taking listener input today at 12:28. Mike and Paul are under the false impression that the first hour of the show is meant to be recital of their own opinions, and the listeners aren't invited.
Not the first hour, first 45 minutes.
I try to do 30.
But it's also, we only have so much to talk about.
I know.
Today.
Well, yeah, I think it all depends on what the topics of the day are. Sometimes we don't take input until like an hour in. It just depends on what's going on.
Those are the good days when it's going. But when I have the honor to sit in the host chair, I feel the general rule of thumb is try to get at least a half hour of set the table in. Maybe 45 minutes, and then you go to the calls and emails. But thank you, Travis. I appreciate you calling that out. That's well played.
Kyle writes in from Pembroke, with training camp coming, what position battles are you most looking forward to? What wide receiver versus cornerback battle? What O-line versus D-line battle? I guess he's talking about individual matchups.
Sure.
Like
Chason versus Will Campbell. I mean, Will Campbell going against some of the veteran edge rushers, see how that kind of holds up.
Because they do, when they break off into like the different positional units, we call it the mano-a-mano drill. When you really have live offense versus defense, and they go one-on-one, and they just rotate, and you really do get a good sense of who's doing well in that one. They're going full speed. Yeah. It's not like keep them up, no tackling. These linemen are going at it in those drills.
Those are the good ones to watch. I think the wide receiver versus cornerback and tight end and running back versus linebacker, it's really hard on the defenders. So as much as I'd love to say, Stephon Diggs versus Christian Gonzalez, which, definitely like to see, but Christian Gonzalez Stephon Diggs has the whole field to work with, and Christian Gonzalez is trying to do his thing. So I put it more on some of the joint practices, like I mentioned, with Justin Jefferson and that receiving core, Terry McLaurin and the Washington receiving core. Because I think, yes, it's still hard for the defenders in those, but it's competitive and the players want to win. Talked a lot about when I was in Vegas and Devontae Adams just putting on an absolute clinic in those. Even though it's hard on the defensive backs, you could still just tell that Davante Adams was a class apart. So it'd be cool to see Stephon Diggs if he's starting to get healthy, starting to toast some guys and quick stops and just totally dust them. But all that one-on-one stuff you got to read with a grain of salt.
You do, but like you said, when you get a guy like Davante Adams, you can tell. You can tell.
Yeah. Well, it was just
and
size,
conversely, if
throttling up and down his speed, and
if Carlton Davis has a good day and it's against Justin Jefferson and great. That does tell you something, because in those joint practices, the guys are out to impress. There's kind of like a pride thing, an ego thing going on. So, and that's why there's a lot of skirmishes during joint practices as well. Like, guys are kind of going a little harder than they're supposed to, because you don't want to get shown up.
Oh yeah.
You don't want to be the guy that gets burned.
There's good intensity in those. I mean, we talked about all the fights in Green Bay a couple years ago. Like, they couldn't even get a playoff on day 2. But I think Christian Gonzalez is such a fun watch in these practices, just because it's all about his athleticism.
He's so smooth.
He's just so quick, and it's just, even if he's giving up the catch, you just see how smooth he is transitioning. And a guy like Carlton Davis, physicality is going to be a huge part of his game, and so he's going to try to get his hands on guys from the get-go. And then if he gets beat off the line, he probably in real football has safety help. So it's that stuff that you have to consider. But Gonzalez, you could just watch him like warm up, and you're like, that guy's smooth.
Dylan writes in, do you believe Jalen Polk and Javon Baker are on the outside looking in when it comes to making the 53-man roster? No, I don't. I think it's wide open. I don't think there's like a set 5 or 6 wide receivers that are like they've got the upper hand.
Yeah.
I don't. I think they have it, other than Diggs, obviously. I think that Diggs and probably what's his
Kyle Williams.
Kyle Williams. I think he's a lock, being a second-round pick this year.
Yeah.
I think everybody is on even footing.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anyone on the outside looking in, and I don't think there's anyone that has an inside track other than those two.
Yeah. I would say I'm probably going to be on Mount Polk this summer. I'm going to get up there, and I'm going to be the Jalen Polk defender. Evan and Paul aren't very high on him. We've had some of those conversations. But I'm going to say that this coaching staff gets him back on track, and he looks more like the player we saw all last summer in camp. He's still flirting with some of these top groups when we saw OTAs. He's still working back from injury, so he wasn't highly involved, but he was still flirting with those groups, whereas Javon Baker feels like he's still kind of battling it out on the lower level. So I think Javon Baker really needs to start to pop and start to string things together. He's a little bit on the outside looking in, I'd say, for me at least at this point. But I really like Jalen Polk, and I'm going to be one of his believers this year. And there probably won't be a lot, but put me in his camp.
Okay.
Polk was down too, training with the whole group in what seems like North Carolina.
I just think it's not a mistake that he comes out of college and comes into camp and looks like he knows what he's doing and is productive and is catching the ball. And then things start to go sideways for a rookie. And I think that this happens. I don't know, you have the most experienced head coaching staff last year to break him out of that funk and to really know when this starts happening to a player, how do I fix it?
Right.
Gerard Mayo, Alex Van Pelt, new guys that hadn't really gone through that. But I have hope that as you get him back to the confidence that he clearly had in college and brought with him into training camp, when again, they wrapped minicamp last year. The last play of minicamp was Drake hitting Jalen Polk for a touchdown. Celebration, got to have it play. Hits him for a touchdown, and that was the end of spring practices last year in 2024. There's something there to me, and again, I respect Paul and Evan that they don't really see it, and they don't know if he's got the speed to compete. But I think he's got the size, the toughness, and the hands that get him back on track, get him confident again that he can contribute to this group, and because he's a unique player, I think, within this big position group. He has unique size, and I think he could really be a physical chain mover, specific set of skills where it's a little bit like Pop Douglas, where it's a guy that I'm going to look to in key moments to make big plays. And I know that's asking a lot for a player who really had a disappointing rookie year, but Mount Polk, here I am.
Okay. All right. There you go. Just make sure you say that when he's in the studio.
I will.
Yeah.
Not these two guys, though. They don't like you at all.
Nick in New York City, I do agree with Alex regarding kickers, but I think the kicker being a good teammate is a bonus, I would compare kicking to surgeons. I want the person that cuts me up and puts me back together while I'm asleep to operate flawlessly every time. If they're nice and treat me like a human when I'm recovering, that's a bonus. Super welcome to have the nice person, but in the end, not the reason I choose the surgeon. Okay.
And it's not like I said that was the only thing that's important to him being successful and the biggest predictor. It was just kind of giving context to his character, you know? And again, we're talking about a kicker who was almost entirely perfect throughout his entire college career. We already know that he's super accurate and super precise. Like, the rest is just bonus and context.
All right. You keep sticking up for those kickers.
I will.
All right. Food's here. We'll take a break. When we come back, more calls and emails here on Patriots Unfiltered. Whether you're in the game or betting on the game, you'll need a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the New England Patriots, provides you with everything you need to build your personal betting game plan so you can get in on all the action while practicing safe bets. Visit DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming to learn more about all the safe betting tools DraftKings has to offer. Hope is here, 800-327-5050 or gamblinghelplinema.org. Must be 21 plus. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com. Physically present in Massachusetts. See DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
With FedEx One Rate, you can ship to your student for a simple, predictable flat rate. Send a box full of home-baked treats that say, "Your father and I miss you." Or send a box full of instant noodles that says, "Your father and I would like you to stop asking us for money." Either way, one rate fits all. FedEx One Rate. 2-day shipping, one flat rate. Starting at $14.50. Visit FedEx.com/OneRate for details. Exclusions apply.
With the fourth pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select Will Campbell, tackle, LSU.
Yeah. Tackle?
Yeah,
that's the way you need to look.
He said that his suit was going to be tight, too. I can tell you, I think Drake May's going to be happy with him.
Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt about it.
He will be an alpha in the offensive line room, and that's exactly what New England needs.
That was that block you got me on right there, Tony. That backside cut off. You didn't see it? Did you see it? That's first rodeo. Hey, Matt. You could have gone down there and got kicked out of you for 3 hours if you wanted to.
What's behind that smile?
Man, just all the hard work.
Congratulations.
I'm gonna fight and die to protect them with everything I got.
Tell me the consequence. We're living with confidence. We already hit, already paid the price. We already took the risk. We already missed. Yeah, boy, look at this. Who could have ever did it better? We in a whole different league. We on a whole different level.
Kyle Williams texted me. He said, "Not bad for a short-armed cat out of Monroe, Louisiana." Doesn't that look tough? Be a long way from the food station for some place. Look, dang, I hate looking. Dang, why don't I?
Yes, sir, really.
Will, enjoy your day today. It's going to go fast, but enjoy every minute of it, buddy.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Yep. Thank y'all for coming out. I wish I could get over there, but
Hey, Will, one of us now, buddy.
hey, let's go. Let's do it. I'm excited. Thank y'all for coming out. No, it wasn't the championship. It was like this quarterfinal game.
Yeah.
And I had a pulled groin. We were playing a team out of Lafayette. We were losing at halftime. And I just couldn't just sit there.
Yeah.
What's that say?
Welcome to New England, Will Campbell.
Oh, that's sweet.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's cool. And the other team didn't even have a locker room, and I didn't even have all my stuff.
Yeah.
I just had my pads, pants, cleats. I think I wore ankle socks with like high top cleats. And I got butt naked under the stadium because they didn't have a locker room. I went out there and played. We ended up winning. It was cool just to be able to do that for my guys. I was willing to risk an injury for them just because we had been through so much, and I grew up with all of them, so it meant a lot for me. But let me see. Bro, stop.
Is that him?
I cut my bangs.
He cut his own hair. well, why'd you do that?
Just for fun.
Yeah. Being a bad little boy.
I think we had like family pictures the next day too.
Yeah, it was Easter.
Yeah, it was Easter. I don't know why I'm nervous. They already picked him. You know. I guess since last time I did this, I was like coming in. It's like an interview. It's over with now, so. Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
I appreciate
Good luck.
it. Thank you.
Congratulations.
What's going on? What up? What's going on? Yeah, I did. What's going on? I appreciate y'all.
From the start, he was a heralded player from his freshman year on, and just a guy we kept an eye on for a number of years. The more work you do on his character, the pass protection, the run blocking, the guy, the leadership, all that kind of stuff, just made him the right pick for us at that time.
What's up? How are you?
You had no chance until lunch, and then lunch sealed the deal.
What's up?
How are you? Good. Congrats.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Well, this was a very, very easy pick for us. He's a leader, he's durable, he's physical, dependable, accountable, he was quick study.
Yeah, that'd be good before I start beating this out of him.
His team is important. This team will be important to him. And so that was a large factor in how we came to be able to pick him.
So,
hey, you look like a professor at Boston College. Mr. Rogers.
what's up? Good for you too.
Awesome. You have a good trip in?
Whenever I got the call, honestly, I was sitting there antsy. I was waiting on it. I kind of had a feeling it was coming, and I was just super thankful.
Yeah.
Oh, that is cool. What's going on, Mr. Kraft? How are you? Yes, sir. Nice to meet you, too. My message to him is I just wanted to be here. This is where I wanted to be, and I just tried to put myself in the best position possible to make that happen.
Way they practice, a lot of effort, a lot of finish.
Great teams know how to practice at different speeds. That's just what we're going to do, because that's the only way that our identity can take over.
This is professional football. This is your job. You're not on scholarship. You don't get a redshirt year.
It better be tough. If you're not tough, you're going to have a hard time playing this league.
Patriots in minicamp continue state.
You got like 2 steps inside and you got to get out. Good. Good. Better. That's how the drill should be.
There it is. Good. Good work right there, Dip. Good rep. Get off. Got it? We can remember it, but we can also work together.
All right. Big weekend this weekend. My son turns 21.
We're in this business to win and to help players improve. I think that they embraced the change.
I would have spit with you, huh?
I feel like I'm blessed to do this, so I wake up with that grind every day.
Think, Shada?
Pass on me. Pass on me. 1, 2, 3.
And now, great moments in history.
Well, it used to be a long time ago, the golden goal. Yeah. But then they decided, like the NFL, to make it fair, let both teams have possession, the equivalent thereof.
Well, they
by letting,
do.
No.
I mean, everybody has the same chance to get the ball.
No. You didn't let me finish. I said the equivalent of letting both teams have possession in the soccer world.
I don't think
It's
that's
not
an
the
equivalent.
Okay.
It isn't.
I'm glad Fred agrees with me because as the non-soccer
I know
guy,
what you're
it doesn't
saying.
make any sense to me.
It is
The golden goal was the equivalent of the old days in the NFL where the first team that scored won.
Right, but football's a different sport. It's
But
not
football,
a fluid
only one
game.
team had the ball. Only one team could score.
It's not a fluid
Soccer,
thing.
both teams have the
Right.
same chance to have the ball.
Right.
You can possess the ball.
Yes, but they wanted to just let there be a set amount of time for them to play the extra
Okay, well, they don't
Fine.
do that in the NFL.
That's fine.
They don't play a set amount of time.
No, but they do have a 10-minute, if you don't, after 10 minutes, they call it a tie.
Right, but it
But
doesn't
in this
go-
case, you couldn't have a tie because it's a playoff game.
It's not the same, Eric.
No.
I know what you're trying to say, but
in
it's
soccer,
not the same.
no matter what
I said
happens,
it's the
you're going to
equivalent. I didn't say it was the same.
What is? Now
We're
I
already
wanna
arguing.
Now
2
I
minutes
want
in
to
and we're already arguing.
Now I want to look up the same and equivalent. But anyway.
What have I walked into?
Revolution Unfiltered.
That's another great moment from
All right. Whoa. Back here in Patriots Unfiltered, 855-PATS-500 is the hotline. Podcasts at patriots.com is the email address. Linda writes in. She says, NBC Sports Boston is reporting the offseason session took place in Tampa. Other social outlets say it took place outside Charlotte, North Carolina at Hoe High School. Doesn't matter to me. What it does matter is that it did take place. Looking forward to camp to see the guys live.
Yeah, it's good. We got like tight end camps. We got pass rusher camps. There's it's the thing to do now in the offseason. All these guys get together with their position groups and trade talk? Is that what it is? Trade secrets?
Yeah. Christian from Virginia writes in, you've talked a lot about intro songs to hype up the crowd, but what about movie clips? If you had to pick a clip to be regularly shown at games, what would you choose? A movie clip.
Oh, God.
And it can't be Jaws.
Herb Brooks' Miracle Speech.
That's one. I think a lot a have used the Mel Gibson Braveheart one, where he riles up the.
That's good. I mean, it could probably just play the Rocky IV training montage. That would work. I also said I love Rocky II. The "What are we waiting for?" when Adrian finally wakes up from the coma, that gets me going too. But I don't know. You might need the Rocky IV. I think training montage. Vince DiCola, put the music on, the whole deal.
What about Chariots of Fire when they're running on the beach with the music?
I mean, the music's good. I don't know if a bunch of English guys running on the beach is going to get anybody too hyped.
Yeah,
they're like full of white outfits. What else? What else is a good hype movie? I don't know. I'll think about it.
There's probably some old World War II movies that are we forget about that probably had some good.
Well, we
scenes.
talked about the Patton speech at the beginning of Patton.
Yeah.
Nobody ever did any good.
Mel Gibson, you got The Patriot.
The Patriot.
The Patriot, yeah.
The Patriot, based on my guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are good ones.
I like the Patton. No son of a bitch ever won a war by dying for his country.
Right, that's
they
the
made
one.
the other son of a bitch die for his country.
Right. Yeah. That's good stuff.
Also, Independence Day. Great
Oh,
pump-up
yeah.
speech.
Oh, yeah?
Bill Pullman.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
The president. This is our Independence Day. It'd be funny if you just did a super cut of all these little moments of just hype speeches, and then that's
All in
the
one.
video.
But Norma Ray.
All right. Union.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are good. Those are good.
Yeah, there's probably a million that we're not thinking of. So, okay.
They'll come to me.
So
They'll
that's a
come to me.
topic. If someone has a can't-miss pump-up movie clip.
Rocky Force. That's it.
Yeah. Something from The Godfather.
Well, that's what I was thinking. All mine include mob movies or gang violence movies.
Right. Right.
I don't want to give anything away, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking. I was like, should I say it? No. The town bank robbery scene or the town robbing Fenway Park scene.
Yeah.
The shootouts.
Yeah.
What about Good Will Hunting when he gives when Ben Affleck gives Matt Damon the
Hope You're Not
the
There
speech?
kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's it's a little bit more depressing.
If you're still here with me on the couch watching Patriots games every Sunday.
Right. Ford in Savannah, Georgia. Alex, he says, congratulations on your award. You should have got an additional one for writing around Evan's acting. Also, You could definitely play the love interest in a sitcom. Don't listen to whatever petty emailer said otherwise. It just might have to be the prequel sitcom to Father Fred, Young Father Fred.
Oh,
I remember that. That's funny. Thank you. It was not just my award. It was the whole team. I
Yeah.
was just sent on behalf of the content
So
team.
we won the hashtag award for Good Jules Hunting, the 2024 schedule release one. And we had the award. We actually have the award in house.
Oh, you got
It's
it.
a
All right.
hashtag.
Oh, you
It's a
found it?
shiny
Oh, you weren't at the 10
hashtag.
o'clock meeting today?
No, I wasn't. I was speaking to the Sharon Men's Club, and it ran a little long.
The Sharon's Men's Club.
The Sharon Men's Club, things don't exactly move very fast when you're.
Yeah, you and Paul. Paul's got the library circuit. You've got you've got the geriatric club circuit.
Exactly
Yeah.
what it was. Exactly
Love
what
it.
it was. I love supporting, my fellow Sharon men, and it was nice. A lot of good questions. A lot of people local who are invested in the team, so I think they're excited. So if you see a bunch of elderly Sharon men coming to games this year, you'll know why. Got them pumped up.
Yeah. So Deuce comes in. You think you're better than us?
You look better than me. No, it's very nice. They were very nice. Delicious.
Who's this guy? He's a big shot. Works for the Patriots.
Well, as I told you
Thinks
guys,
he's better than us.
As I told you guys off air, they were just coming off a presentation last week of the history of toothbrushes. So hopefully, Deuce's
history of
presentation.
Who's the talent booker?
I don't know. Well, I talked to the talent booker, and it sounds like it's a tough lift trying to find talent. So they found me. Obviously, it's it's a grind.
Do they actually have a talent
No, I don't
booker?
think. No, it's just a guy who has to find people to talk to them. So it's very nice, supportive community there.
Midge, we need somebody for next Tuesday.
That's pretty much it. So that's cool. So you guys had the trophy in the 10 o'clock. You passed it
Yeah.
around. Everybody
Yeah.
got to kiss it
Yeah.
and stuff, drink out of it.
Pretty much. I know. I told the story. Fred wasn't here, but we thought that award would be presented much later, and Veronica and I were in the bathroom.
Oh,
and
really?
we hear, and now the nominees for Best Short Video. And I was like, Veronica, we're up. We got to go now. And
Cut
I
it
ran
off.
out.
Women can do that. Men can't.
I didn't think she was going to make it. And there was a woman with us from the Golden State Warriors in the bathroom with us. She was like, go, go, go. And then she was the first person, we made it and accepted the award. And I gave an out of breath speech with.
Oh, you actually went up as a
Yeah,
group,
it's a
the
whole
Oscars?
ceremony.
Really?
Yeah,
did they start the music because you were going too long?
No, we kept it short and sweet. We knew the deal. And, but yeah, it was a great event, honestly. And
Was
it
my
was
name mentioned? The answer's no.
No,
Yes.
but I
I'm
didn't
always-
do the thank you part. I just did the
All
part
right.
that was like, hey, let this be your excuse to always throw your crazy ideas out there, because we had a different idea. So I kind of told the story about how we felt like we were leaving something on the table and we pivoted
remember
last
that.
minute.
Were there other NFL teams there?
Yeah, quite a few. Ironically, I told Deuce this. We made really good friends with the guys from the Falcons and the Seahawks, which is pretty funny. They were very nice
Were
to
they
us.
up for the
despite-
worst loss, or what were they up for?
Right.
Well, the Vikings won a ton of awards.
Oh yeah?
They won a ton of stuff.
Like what?
The Seahawks, I don't remember if they won anything. And then the Falcons, they won something for this retail line they launched that's really cool, called Sundays in Atlanta, and it's kind of like a lifestyle brand they've created out of game days essentially, and the clothes isn't overtly look at me logos all over it, Atlanta Falcons. It's very kind of discreet and really cool stuff. They had this rugby polo long sleeve situation, and I was like,
nice.
I kind of like it. I would wear that despite the tiny Falcons logo on it.
That's interesting.
It was cool. I learned. It was a great event. I really enjoyed the conference. There are these guys. They're actually. One of them was a voice in Hey Arnold, and one was one of the main artists on Hey Arnold. But they've now launched. They did a deal with the Yankees and the Yes Network, and they create kids cartoon content to get kids into baseball called Bronx Buds. So they have a goal of kind of working with all the teams and just getting kids into sports and building that fandom really young. Networked with them and got their information if you want to set up a meeting.
All right.
But yeah,
Foxborough
it was cool.
Friends.
That's what I told them.
There
I was
you
like,
go.
I see it now, Foxborough and Friends.
Didn't Tip do a video like that back in the day? Is that I think I heard that
Tip?
at some point. Did Tip do a video with telling kids how to play? Or
Oh, I don't
something
know. I don't remember.
Hi kids, we'll tell you how to murder a quarterback.
Well, this was cute. It was like a little sitcom YouTube videos where the kids learned about teamwork and friendship and
Good things.
And they have like sponsorship deal because the kids after baseball practice they go hang out at this old Italian guy's restaurant and they have like pasta and meatballs and then Hexclad is their main sponsor, so like the guy only cooks with Hexclad cartoon pans and it's cute. There's like a lot of sponsorship opportunities there. I don't know. Just
I wish
food for
I wish
thought.
I was there because I would have been like, I actually dabble in Falcons merchandise as well.
Yeah, right. Oh, so you're the guy.
Sorry.
Well, we asked them. So what happened with that Twitter post you guys put out?
The 28-3
Yeah.
one? Oh boy.
Yeah. Anthony writes in, I've written in several times and have been lucky to get some of my emails read on the show. I have taken criticism
Today's
from
your
other
lucky day.
listeners because I'm a Patriots fan from New York and I'm also a Knicks and Mets fan. If I remember correctly, Fred and Mike weren't always Patriots fans. I vaguely remember hearing them speak about this on PU. So my question is, why do some fans gatekeep others and question their level of fandom? I live and breathe the Patriots and have for many years. My opinion is we should all embrace all fans, Patriots, old and new, from all over the world.
I agree with that.
Yeah, sure.
I was always a Patriots fan. I think the more what I was saying is just I didn't find growing up around here that there were a lot of like super invested, crazy, passionate Patriot kids like growing up around here. There was a big bump from the '85 season and the Super Bowl, and there was a lot of that was memorable. But I think anybody in my that I grew up with, '80s, late '80s, early '90s, I said you look at the yearbook, you don't see anybody with Patriot stuff on. It's all the other teams, the 49ers, the Cowboys. So really, it took them until they got 96 is building momentum, and then when they 2001, then I feel like everyone now I'm a super Patriots fan. But I was always kind of a Patriots fan, but never obsessed. I think it's hard to be obsessed when they're pretty bad.
No, I mean, even though the Red Sox didn't win until 2004, this was a baseball town.
Yeah.
And then when Larry Bird was here, it was a basketball town. And in the early 70s, Bobby Orr literally was the reason why hockey rinks were built.
Mm-hmm.
It became a hockey town for a little bit.
Yeah.
Patriots never were the number one team until Robert Kraft bought the team in 94 and they started winning football games. Never. You couldn't even, when the blackout rule, you couldn't even watch the games when they were at the old Foxborough Stadium because they were always blacked out.
Yeah.
People that were really football fans would go to New Hampshire and rent a motel room. I'm not kidding, to watch the game. It's the only way you can watch it.
Wow.
No. I went to plenty of games.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of gatekeeping, especially when it comes to hidden gems on Cape Cod. But I've never understood sports teams and leagues, especially. I think hockey Twitter in particular is really gatekeepy. It's like they don't want more people to like hockey. Why wouldn't you want your sport to grow? I don't know.
Right. Well,
always been annoying to me.
I think, I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was Shaughnessy or Maserati, but somebody writing about the Red Sox back in the day when they started getting popular again called them pink hats.
Mhm.
The pink hats.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's listen, baseball
the
needs every fan they
go-to-
can get. I don't care
Exactly.
what color your hat is.
That's
you know?
the go-to insult for women's
Pink hat.
sports fans. You're a pink hat fan.
Yeah. I mean, as a blogger, when I was blogging, I found that the way that some people watch sports annoys me. But I try not to judge and let people do whatever they want because it's sports and it ultimately doesn't matter. I'd much rather have you yelling at me about sports than politics.
Yeah.
And everyone allowed to root in their own way. To me, one of the coolest experiences of my life was when we went to Germany and you're connecting with fans from Europe and you have something in common with these people, maybe nothing else, but you all love the team and there's an instant kind of fellowship that to me is the magic of sports. And especially as the game grows internationally, to have people walking up from us that they drove down from the UK to Germany just to come see our stupid faces, that to me is such a cool thing that can really just bridge differences and
It's supposed to bring people
all
together.
That. So it does.
Yeah.
And so look, if some people want to be endlessly furious that the Patriots haven't found a number one receiver for the last 10 years, go for it. That's how you want to watch it. It's not going to hurt anybody. Go for it. I don't maybe want to hear you call in every show and tell us that they don't have a number one receiver. I get it. But at the same time, it's not hurting anybody.
Yeah.
It's sports. That's what it's for.
And the gatekeeping team fandom, there's no contest for this. You don't get a certificate or a trophy for being a bigger
If you know,
fan
you
than
know.
someone else. good for you. You did dedicate more of your life to being obsessed with a sports team. Maybe that's not the flex you think it is.
It's like I always think that like no one will ever take away from me the feelings that I had watching this team over 20 years. And you can talk about, was it Bill or Tom? Were the Patriots a better dynasty than this team, or all that, comparative stuff that we inevitably get into. But ultimately, for me, what matters most is that was an incredible 20-year run. I get to watch this team win Super Bowls. I get to watch impossible comebacks. I got to watch the greatest quarterback of all time. And when that team won, I felt it. I knew I was a fan. I didn't need to prove it to anybody.
Right.
Some people, maybe if they're a bandwagon fan, they win, they're like, great, our team won. But I don't know if they really feel it. Only you can tell me if you really felt what it was like.
I hate the people that are like, name the starting lineup, or
Right,
oh yeah,
like
you're a
that's your-
fan. Name
right.
that. Like I had this in college
Yeah,
once.
yeah.
Like I'm at a party at like the hockey house, and they're like, some just arrogant hockey players are like, oh, you want to be a sports reporter? I heard. No. Where'd Tom Brady go to college? And I was like, Michigan. Like throw one better at me. But they were like trying to like put me down. And then ironically, years later, I'm working at Nesson, and surprise, they didn't make it to the NHL, and they're hitting me up to see if I can get them a job at Nesson. So I'm like, I remember that party my freshman year, and you're a bozo.
Yeah. Kale McCarr wasn't there, though, was he?
It wasn't Kale.
Okay.
It was not Kale McCarr.
And you're a bozo. Put that red nose on and squeeze
Well,
it.
that is the perfect, and I think that's often directed at women, like name the players. Like, someone could do that with
What's
me in
their
the
blood
Celtics, and I'd be
type?
like, "Arr."
No, listen, everyone can choose to be a fan at the level that they want to be a fan. If you want to read the media guide and memorize it, great, good for you.
If you want to be like Paul and have
I do get annoyed, or have gotten annoyed when, even on this show, when some of our fans will call in when things are bad and just furious and how this team is embarrassing them. Like I'm embarrassed to be a page. It's like, really? I mean, if that's the case, then you've probably invested a little bit too much
touch grass
of your life, and being
Go for a
known
walk in the
like
woods.
this is too much of your life. The whole embarrassment thing, and just mad because you embarrassed me.
Champagne problems.
Yeah, I think
go be a Jets fan.
I think the
One
team is
wins
embarrassed
the
enough.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
One team, 31 teams every year are in some form miserable.
Yeah.
Like, is it embarrassing? I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's why you
There's
got to be
so
ride
much
or
to be
die.
upset about, but let's see. Theo writes in, I want to know what your thoughts are on Patriots fan pages on Instagram. Do you like them, hate them, don't care? I personally have one. I won't plug myself because I'm not a certain man from LA, but I personally like running it. I feel like I know more about the team, and I have fun creating Patriots-related content. I love the show. Been listening for almost 2 years now, which is crazy because I can't even drive yet. Okay.
That's great. No,
I love it.
That's how I did it.
And you're allowed to plug your fan page if you want. We'll
plug it. It's a great creative outlet. I'm sure you can relate to that in your early blogging days, and
100%,
you're building community. It's a creative outlet. It's great. I'd say like the only way you can go wrong is like just credit your sources, and other than that, I don't think
Yeah, that's a great.
anyone has
and also,
anything
yeah,
to
I
say
mean,
about
and,
that.
And if you're gonna try to have sources and don't just make stuff up.
Right. I'm talking about in the sense
yeah.
of like aggregating.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
posting an Instagram graphic that there's a report. Just,
It's largely what I did early on. I mean, I was writing for like Bleacher Report, writing articles about the team, but then, really the first version of Pat's Propaganda was a Tumblr blog, which is mostly you're just reposting content and GIFs and that kind of stuff. But at a certain point, I was like, I need to make the move and just have a dedicated website to analysis that's mine, instead of writing for 7 different websites. And I'm writing about the Patriots for Bleacher Report and for Pat's Pulpit and all these different places. So I think at a certain point, and that would be my advice, just focus your work and focus on not just what other people are doing and saying, but find your own niche, which is harder now. I mean, when I was starting out, there were a lot of blogs, but not like now where everybody's got an Instagram page. But finding a way to stand out, like the hoodie database, like, that stupid stuff that, gives you a little bit something different that the other blogs don't have.
Totally.
Speaking of Fresno, what are some of the unique peccadillos of yours? Small, little, relatively unimportant offenses that just annoy you. My dad used to suck his teeth after dinner, and it drove my brother insane. Personally, I'm increasingly annoyed when people insert right as a placeholder to hold the floor when talking. Evan does this all the time. So what minor sins get your goat?
I can kind of do one right now, and then my kids do it all the time.
Oh, with the
I get in trouble for that.
I hate
I'm
that
so
sound
fidgety. I get in trouble
so
for that
much,
all the time.
especially when it's empty and they just start grinding it. That sound I hate. That's the first one that popped to mind. I probably have quite a few of these.
I don't know. I can tune a lot out, and it also takes a lot to like really bother me.
I think I might have said this, the one at restaurants, when you order a salad now, they say, do you want protein on that?
Oh.
I can't stand that. What do you have? You have chicken, beef, fish, so by just saying protein, now it requires a second question. So my answer is yes, I do. What do you have? And now you have to tell me what protein you have.
Yeah.
Just say, would you like chicken, fish, or beef on that? Or,
Yeah.
or whatever you have. Like, this whole protein thing is
Also, if you're ordering a salad,
side
it
salad's
says on
probably
the
the
menu
meal.
you can add this, this, and this. You're probably ordering it. Can I have a Caesar
Right.
salad with grilled chicken or
Yeah.
with salmon?
Right. But, I hear that. Would you like protein with that? I was like, oh.
Fred loses his
God.
mind. No!
I just.
Well, sure. I didn't. It is funny though when you get older, things like that start to annoy you. But
I guess mine is just with people who don't know how to merge. People just fly onto the highway now. I like purposely sometimes don't move over to the left lane to let people on because I want to show them like, no, you have a yield sign, and I'm going to teach you what
teaching
that
lessons.
means.
you're about to learn today. You're welcome.
You want to hit me good?
I'm gonna think of 100 of these as soon as the show wraps up. I'll have 100.
Yeah.
I'll have
Oh,
100
yeah,
different.
We'll revisit this Thursday.
Yeah, no.
Everyone come with a
I'm gonna be
list.
like this annoys me. This annoys me. There's a lot of things that annoy me.
I mean, I hate the whole irregardless. I just,
Right. Well, that's not a word. So
right. No, yeah, right.
I'm with that. I agree with that.
Robin Brockton, I agree with you guys on gatekeeping. Everyone should just enjoy being a fan of a sports team or even a band or series for that matter. Instead of trying to prove you're a bigger fan than another, embrace the fandom and try to become friends with said person. We are all Patriots Nation, whether you live in New England or not. Also, I tried asking this question earlier, and Fred said my email was crap. My girlfriend and I are going to Nashville tomorrow. Any recommendations for restaurants and bars? Well, I would, if you want barbecue, I'd go to Martin's. Get there early because they run out. They only make a certain amount of ribs, if you want ribs, for the day, which tells you they're doing it the right way. They only smoke so many ribs. So don't expect to get there at like 9:30 and get ribs. They're going to run out. So get there around 5, 6. You'll be fine. So if you want ribs, Martin's is good. It's not fancy. You get in line. You give your order. You go. They give you a number. You go find a table, and then they'll bring you your food. So it's not fancy at all, but the ribs are good.
Yeah. I've only been there once, so I'm not sure I can qualify to give advice. But I don't. It's hard to go wrong if you just go down Broadway and looking for fun. And we had great barbecue. I don't even know where we had our barbecue, but it was wonderful too. You remember that, Maddie?
It was Jack's.
Jack's. We went to Jack's. And if you have a chance to sing Bust a Move in karaoke on Nashville Main Street, where everyone's trying to be a famous musician, and you can brutally sing a song from the 90s, go for it.
I also highly recommend Hattie B's Nashville chicken sandwiches. They are unbelievable.
Hattie
gonna
B's.
say, I
Hattie
think you have
B's,
to
very
get
famous
a
spot out
Is
there.
that right on
Nashville hot
Broadway
fried
too?
chicken.
Yeah.
Right on Broadway.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can't miss, right?
No, it's a really cool city. I was there briefly during practice of 2019, but it seemed like a really fun destination.
It's a real cool city in short doses.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Vegas in that regard.
It's the country version of
Country
Vegas.
Vegas.
Exactly.
Country Vegas. That sounds about right. Yeah. I can see that.
Dan in Hawaii writes in, love the idea of motivational speeches being hyped during or prior to games. One of my favorite motivational speeches was given by John Belushi as Bluto in Animal House.
Right.
Yep. Was it over
That's
when the
gotta be part
Germans
of it.
bombed Pearl Harbor?
Yeah.
Hell no.
Yeah.
Nothing is over until we decide it is. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. So
I like it.
that was a good one.
Yeah. I got to think of some of those. But all the sports movies, that's like the pinnacle of the sports movie, right? You got to have either training montage or the motivational speech at the. But that's a good one. I like Belushi.
Was there a motivational speech in Bad News Bears?
Oh boy,
No?
that's really.
I don't
I
remember.
could imagine. Do you see that one?
A long
Really?
time.
A long time ago?
Long time ago.
Yeah.
Like single digit age.
Probably pretty funny though. I think in Major League there's a pretty good speech too when I think like Corbin Burnson maybe Tom Berenger, get the team on board. Every sports movie's got to have a motivational speech.
Let's see. This is Matt. For an off-season question, I was wondering if you guys had a favorite stadium that you have been to across all sports. Secondly, a favorite stadium based on experience. For me, Petco Park, the Padres Stadium, has been the best I've been to so far. And experience-wise would be any Vegas Golden Knights game. I highly recommend anyone who enjoys hockey or sports in general to go to a Golden Knights game at least once. I hear the presentation is really good
I've
there.
heard the same thing, I imagine.
Petco Park is great. I saw my spring break, my senior year of college, the World Baseball Classic was going on, and we just happened to be in San Diego for spring break anyways, and went to a game last minute. It was awesome.
I haven't been to a lot of stadiums. Seattle always made an impression on me, seeing the Seahawks play the Patriots.
I mean, SoFi Stadium was just amazing.
Yeah, was it?
It
Brand
was
new. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Just the whole design of it. Like 2/3 of it is underground.
Mm-hmm.
They spent over $1 billion making it earthquake proof. Like it's the safest place in LA to
Really?
be. That's what they told me.
Yeah.
Like, and I did a whole tour of the back end, the technology there, the ribbon boards. It's just incredible. And literally, it's an outdoor stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, even though 2/3 of it is below ground level.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I still think the place I'm always trying to get back to my mind that I'll never get to is the Boston Garden. And it's not even that was a great stadium, but growing up there and the memories of going to Bruins games with my dad and just the smell of that stadium, it's still like, I can still remember like all my experiences going to that place. And anytime I see like a picture of it online or something, I'm like, God, I'm never going to get to go back to there again.
Yeah,
Like,
I remember
that place was
going
cool.
to the Boston Garden during the Bird era. And, during TV timeouts, the Celtics would be on a run. Larry just hit a 3-point, to put his foot on their throats. Like during TV timeouts, the crowd would make it a point to just keep it all the sound up throughout the whole TV timeout. So when TV came out from the break, the place was still just going wild. It was just like a whole different thing.
Yeah.
There wasn't any of the extra stuff. There weren't any dancers back then. There weren't, the crazy DJ or anything.
Red
it was just
Panda.
the crowd creating the excitement.
Yeah.
That was what was crazy to me when I went when I was living in LA. I went to a couple Kings games, and the contrast between mostly going to Boston Garden, seeing those Bruins games, to then late '90s, early 2000s. Now the Kings have video boards and those things, and it was plus it's LA, so it's just a whole production. There's as much of a show going on as the hockey game itself. But yeah, I mean, Dodger Stadium was pretty cool. Been to a few games there. A little scary.
Really? I went to Dodger Stadium once. It was a delightful experience.
Yeah, it's nice. It's hard to get to. It's like, and everybody comes late. And, I don't know. It's a different experience, but it's a cool atmosphere.
Oh, it is.
Anaheim didn't really care for that. Never made it down to Petco though in San Diego. I mean, I saw the old Qualcomm, which, by the way, I saw they just tore that down. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh,
They
is that
built
right?
another football stadium just next to it. So even that, not that I had anywhere the fondness of that place that I had for Boston Garden, but the 06 AFC divisional game I saw there, I had a little emotion. And it's weird when you see these stadiums where you had such, so many great experiences get torn down, and you're like, man, that place is gone forever.
Yep.
Going through it right now in Rhode Island with McCoy Stadium.
Oh yeah.
Oh
sure.
yeah.
Yeah. I think the
Paw
most
Sox
depressing
getting torn
one of my
down.
most depressing pictures to me is of Boston Garden, and it's half torn down. And I always felt like the Boston Garden, when you were in there, it's like time and space don't exist. Like you just feel like you're in a different place. I don't know where outside.
I mean, it was
is.
a dump, but it was
a
our
total dump. It was our
Yeah.
dump. But then that picture where it was like half the building is ripped off, and you're sitting there on Causeway Street, and you see directly into the Boston Garden. And you're like, my God, it was just a stupid building right there in the middle of Boston.
I mean,
is
I
all
don't
it
want to
was.
say it's on the same level, but it must have been like, seeing Notre Dame Cathedral when it was burned, like this iconic place in ruins.
You can try to rebuild it, or you can call something the Boston Garden, or I mean, I don't know if people notice it today, but I think the proper measurements for a hockey rink right now are 200 by 85, and I think the Boston Garden was 180 by 70.
Oh yeah, that's why they always built their teams to be physical.
Tiny
right?
rink. I mean, it's like you couldn't do that. Imagine we have to play the Patriots. Yeah, the field's only 80 yards in Foxborough. That's the equivalent of it. It's crazy. you look at it now and you're like, they played hockey in that. Like it looked like it's like on the rug, and it's just tiny little space, everybody on top of each other, different times.
James Pettigrew, the most interesting Patriots fan in the world, says about little annoyances. For some reason, Ed Hockley always annoyed me, and I thought he was a good ref. And you're not a real fan unless you hear Fred complain about late T-shirt deliveries, and you shout, "The paper was never on time either, Fred," at your phone. Yeah, for those who are PFW subscribers, you know the ordeals that we had to go through to get papers delivered on time.
I lived in California when I was a subscriber, and I don't think it ever came on time. But I enjoyed reading all the wonderful content you guys produced.
Just a couple weeks late.
Right.
Curtis in St. Louis writes in, what rookie would you like to see take the big leap in training camp? And second question, would you rather attend a Patriots-Dolphins game in Miami during September in a parka and snow pants, or attend a Patriots-Bills game in Buffalo in January in swim trunks and flip-flops? Take fatalities out of the question.
Oh, boy.
So overdress for a steaming game in September, or underdress for a freezing game in January?
It's tough. I prefer to be cold. I mean, I'd rather be cold than hot.
But the thing is, like, I've been at late season games, outdoor stadium, and it's freezing, and like you don't warm up until like midnight after a 1 o'clock game. Whereas once the game's done, you just go into the AC and you kind of get relief sooner.
I don't know, man. Both sound really miserable.
They both sound absolutely miserable.
The hot one sounds like me trying to sleep last night, because last night I just felt like no matter how much the air conditioning was on, it just was like you're sleeping in soup.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I hate being hot, but I feel like I'd rather be cold outside and dress warm, but not in swim trunks. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't decide on either one.
Parka in September in Miami. On the bright side, I'm sweating out some toxins.
That's true. You are.
There's at least
might
like
lose some LBs on that one.
Exactly. There you go.
Speaking of which, LB, Lynn Bars, rest in peace.
Yeah,
That
rest
was
in
a tough
peace.
One. That was a tough one.
I remember when he used to fill in bartend at the Poorhouse on, on Boylston Street.
Really?
Yeah.
After his playing days, getting some fights and
That's a place I miss.
He used to drink more than he poured. So, hello, Deuce, Alex, and Marine. Claire writes in, I always love the off-season weirdness, so embrace the narrative. What's the one song that brings you back up? You might be down or angry, and playing that song just levels out your mood.
Want to dance with somebody? Whitney Houston.
That's a good one.
Okay.
Can't be.
I mean, whenever I hear it on the radio, like the distinctive opening to Hotel California, it's like, okay, turn it up.
You get that at least 20 times a day too, on the radio.
Yeah. And I like Long Cool Woman in a Black Dress by the Hollies. You ever hear that?
Sure, yeah.
Don't hum it, we'll get sued.
I appreciate you saying that, because I would be on tone. I would be on key, I'm sure.
Also, selfishly for me, who is your favorite Patriots tight end, and how is it not Gronk? Well, I think Gronk, yeah.
Ben Winter Coates.
But, I mean, Ben Coates is great. Marv, what's his name?
Marv Cook?
Not Marv Cook.
He didn't last very long. You're talking about the guy who went to San Francisco.
Yeah. Why can't I remember his name? Russ Francis.
Russ Francis. Yeah. He was a beast.
He was like the athletic tight end before there were athletic tight ends.
Sure.
Like he could do it all.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
And without focus.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't a workout warrior or anything like that. He was just a natural athlete.
No. Claire, go watch some Ben Coates highlights on YouTube, and then send me a message. Tell me what you think of Ben Coates, because he was a truck. I mean,
he was a truck. I think Gronk is better.
Gronk was better. But Ben Coates and Drew Bledsoe, there was a hype around that combination, and Ben Coates has some Gronk-worthy catch and runs.
Ben was great, and then toward the end, he slowed down a little, and he started getting called for offensive pass interference a little bit. He was pushing off a little bit too much. They ended up sending him to the Ravens.
Yep.
And he had a few more years at the Ravens.
Yeah, won a Super Bowl. I don't think he played much, but
yeah.
I realized I don't think we answered. Was it James Pettigrew's question about rookie want to see the jump? I think.
Oh,
I don't. Sorry to go back to that, but I was going to just say Will Campbell, because I think if he comes in and plays really well left tackle.
Oh yeah.
You're going to be cooking. I hope that's what he meant, not like last year's rookie to make a jump. But sorry, want to make sure we answer questions.
Yeah. I got a feeling Alex is going to be able to answer this the best. Mike from Maine says, "What is your go-to hangover food?" Greasy diner breakfast for me. Glad we're getting closer to training camp. Thanks for the off-season content.
Me too.
Hangover food. I haven't had a hangover in a long time.
Me too.
I have.
Yeah. Last night.
Greece,
Cape Week.
Cape Week, and then right before Cape Week, right before New York City, I was visiting my friend in Charlotte, and we partied like we were in college again. Greasy diner breakfast, but sometimes, like, even then, like, if it's that bad of a hangover, you can't even muster up the energy to be in public at a sit-down restaurant. Greasy bacon, egg, and cheese.
So what is it about the grease, Miss Nutrition?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It just feels right.
Brings you
it's
back
like all
to
you
life.
Think about, you're like, I don't. There's only one thing I can eat right now: eggs. Like
Absorbs
bacon.
I don't know. I don't come back to life till I have like a breakfast sausage, egg, and cheese breakfast, or a bacon, egg, and cheese. Don't discriminate, but maybe something about like the carbs in the bread or the croissant, like soaking it up. And
I think that's a
grease.
universal
I don't
answer. I
know.
mean, I've never even heard someone pitch another good hangover.
McDonald's,
food that's like,
depending on how late you wake up. Just go right to
can't do
McDonald's.
McDonald's anymore.
McDonald's fountain Diet Coke.
Yeah.
Pepsi.
That's probably
they
all
don't
I
have
get.
Pepsi. They don't have Pepsi at McDonald's, but
Diet, whatever their soda.
Diet black soda.
Yeah.
Diet cola. Like a medium French fry, medium to large French fry,
I had a
and
really
cheeseburger.
I haven't gone to McDonald's in decades, maybe. And
Really?
I was driving back.
I haven't been in 10 minutes.
I'll never be too good for McDonald's.
I was driving back from my boys'
It's
weekend
not
a
good
couple
for
weeks
me, but
ago,
I
and
love
I
it.
stopped on the Mass Pike for I was like, thought I'd get a Dunkin', and I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to do Mickey D's. I haven't done it in a while. I'm just gonna get an egg and cheese. I couldn't eat both of them. I don't know.
Really?
I don't know.
Yeah, see, I'm addicted. Well, not that I go too much, but like even just the thought of a Big Mac gets me like
Big Macs are
Pavlov's
good.
dog. I start to drool.
I love a Big
yeah.
Mac too.
It's one of the great sandwiches of all time.
I agree.
One or two times a quarter.
I'm
doing McDonald's for dinner.
Up at, did you ever have it up at one of the restaurants up here in Patriot Place, the Worldly one? You know what I'm talking about?
The Worldly one?
The Worldly one, right next to Dunkin'.
Red Robin?
No.
Citizen's Crust?
Citizen's Crust. Is that Worldly, right?
It's because their menus are horizontal.
They have like a Big Mac pizza, so it's like all the fixing on the pizza, and it's wonderful.
Okay. I liked it when McDonald's had the Big Mac wrap.
Oh.
You felt like a little less
Oh, it's
guilty
bread, yeah.
because it wasn't on the bun, it was in a wrap, but it tasted like a Big Mac. I like that.
We used to have hockey practice in high school sometimes in the morning before school, and then we would all just go to McDonald's before. And I think there was one time I ate 7 Egg McMuffins before breakfast.
Hell yeah.
But, you just, like, our practice was literally like 5 a.m. to 6 a.m., and then, you have a couple hours to kill, and we just would hang out there. And you're like 16, 17 years old, you could just take that stuff down. But
Oh, yeah.
I love
could
like
not do
a
that now.
cheeseburger salad when I'm craving a cheeseburger, but I don't want to be a slob. So you make
Take
like
the bread
it's a
out.
Big Mac, but it's a salad,
Yeah.
Yeah.
over lettuce and like a patty. Yeah.
Well, that's like Evan's Jersey Mike.
Yeah.
Bowls.
Scratches the itch, Anything you can do.
Where's that Jersey Mike sponsorship going? We got to get that thing going.
I know
Yeah.
they got chicken salad sandwiches back.
Right?
Tyler in Delaware about Polk. I'm in total agreement with Mike. Polk had a bad season. Yeah, it sucks. But numerous rookies who had bad first years turned it around and had solid careers, including Devontae Adams, Alshon Jeffrey, Brandon Marshall. I'd even argue Marvin Harrison had a disappointing rookie year. But I digress. Certainly Marvin Harrison Jr. did, right? People
Yeah.
thought he was going to be
Yeah,
better.
I don't know what his numbers were, but I would just chime in and say that Evan would say right now that based on Polk's numbers, what he achieved, would probably be kind of unprecedented. Not probably, it would be unprecedented for him to have a breakout year now. If you guys who produce that little haven't produced, so it is
Polk
what it is.
showed significant potential last offseason leading into the season. It was the Miami game with the touchdown that got called back that killed his motivation and lost trust within the coaches after comments he made following the game. We as Patriots fans should want and root for guys to step up and succeed. So instead of crapping on him like I hear on Paul's shows, why can't we just root for him? Hope he puts in the work and makes the team. Polk supporters unite.
Yeah, no, it'll be fun. I mean, I think it's a good point to talk about during training camp. Maybe he does really well. He picks up, he starts producing like he did in camp again, and people like Paul and Evan will maybe have to consider it, or maybe he can't break through. I don't know, but I believe in the player. I do. I think that he has a skill set they need, and it's not. I think people get lost when it's not the number one receiver that, we don't want him then. But I think he like Pop. He could have a role and be helpful to this offense.
Let's see. 855-PATS-500 is the hotline. Mark's in Connecticut. What's... Oh.
Oh, hi, Mark.
That was my
Hi,
fault.
Mark.
I hit the wrong button, Matt. Tell him to call. Call back, Mark. I'm sorry. If you call back, we'll get you right on.
There, is this him?
Right on.
Oh, there he is. Is this Mark? Okay.
Yep.
What's up, Mark? Sorry.
That's all right, guys. How you doing?
Good.
Pretty good.
Oh,
Dude,
hi, Mark.
My brother, welcome back.
Hey.
Seems like you guys are alternating days off.
Kind of.
Well, that's how it works. Yeah. Can't all go at the
Don't
same
want just
time.
Fred sitting here by himself.
First 2
I've
weeks
done
of
it
July.
before.
A couple of things for you. Terry
That's F you,
McLaurin,
Fred,
why
Fred,
is
I'm fine.
Washington, messing with the guy and not just giving him the contract extension? He's too much of a valuable player to them that the Patriots would love to have.
Well,
and then the
especially
other
now when you got your quarterback on a rookie contract.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. The other thing is that this defense, Deuce, and I know you're in agreement on this, they should realistically, with the schedule being the third easiest, be a top 5 defense with the players that they brought in. Now, obviously, health will play a substantial role in that, but realistically, I can see this team winning 10, 11 games.
Yeah, I mean, I realistically could too. I mean, it has to break right, and they have to stay healthy, like you said. But that's to me is the biggest thing. I just my one thing with maybe holding this defense back is if they do have a string of bad injury luck at a specific position or two, like edge or linebacker. I think Spillane and Landry,
absolutely, guys.
Spillane and Landry, super valuable guys that they can't afford to lose. That would be big drop-offs.
Absolutely. You guys, I love you guys. Have a great one.
All right. Thanks, Mark. Thanks for the call.
But you
And
gotta feel
sorry
good.
that I hung up on you.
You got to feel good about the cornerbacks, especially the 2 starters.
Yeah.
With Duggar coming back, I mean,
Health.
Definitely
That-
questions.
That's the
but-
one thing I hate about football. It's
Yep.
not when
It's the worst.
it's not if, it's when guys get hurt.
I know.
You know?
I know. That's like, it's like 2008. I remember being like, oh my God, you're kidding me. The season's over like 6 minutes in,
Yeah.
I know it wasn't, and you still watch Matt Castle, but especially this sport, that's how it happens. Boom, down. Completely, everything goes sideways, and everything we talked about from free agency in March to this point where you're, getting into September, is like it's out the window now. It doesn't, we talk about all this time about Drake or Landry or whoever, and now they're down, and it's a totally different equation.
Sean's in Vancouver. Hey, Sean.
Hey, Fred, a few things. Yeah, I agree with Charlotta in terms of expectations. It's not a numbers thing. I don't know how many wins they're going to get, but yeah, it's just to see the improvement, the progress, especially with the quarterback, Drake May, is doing well, then I'll be happy. So that's it. And I'm also really excited, like Mike, you were saying, that for some reason there's just a difference with this team that it seems like they're going to be really good. They're going to take a big jump. I don't know. We haven't seen it, but I'm so looking forward to what happens when the pads come on in practice and when they're going up against another team for the dual practices and then the exhibition games. I want to see what they look like. And with other fans, sometimes they have expectations with players like Pop Douglas. Like, it's not realistic. You're expecting them to be Edelman or Welker and like 6th, 7th round picks. That's not what really happens most of the time. I mean, you look at since 2017, we haven't had maybe half a dozen guys who've worked out. So I'd be happy, like, if Bryant is like a swing lineman going forward. That, to me, that's a success. You can't expect them to be all pro when you're drafting that late with these guys. And the other thing I wanted to point out in regards to the flags, like challenges, I like the way the CFL does it. You have one challenge. If you get it right, you get it again. And you can also challenge PI. So that's it. I'll let you discuss that for however few minutes you have left. Thanks, bye.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind that. One challenge, as long as you keep getting it right, you get it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Puts a lot more on the head coach trying to measure the.
Yeah. You got to be certain.
The right moments.
You got to be. You got to know that it was a bad call.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't mind that either.
No.
I just think, let's just get it right. I don't care how. Let's just get it right. We've been on both ends where you're the recipient of a bad call and you win that way, but it just hurts so much when your team loses because of a bad call.
Yeah. Well, if I could put my youth hockey referee hat on a second. Like, as a ref, like, I just want to get it right, too. Like, I don't care about being right.
Right.
And sometimes, I mean, there's a lot going on. And it's like, Coach, I'm not trying to screw you. I just didn't see it. Like, I can't call something I didn't see. If the camera shows it and the replay shows that I missed it, then fine. You know? Do you wonder, though, if they would start to, like, grade the officials and, oh, well, this official had 17 calls overturned and this guy's only had 3. So,
Well, I feel like they do, right? Didn't a couple
I mean, they're
refs
definitely
lose their-
evaluated to some extent, but I just wonder if that would be, you know, they try to get the best crews at the end, but I would just wonder if this becomes then another big key piece of it. How many calls of theirs have been overturned? Does that
And
does
then
that
you get
imply they were
fired
missing
contingent
things,
on
or-
how you did?
Right. Like every game, he's getting like 6 calls overturned. Like, sorry, buddy.
Back to remember we were talking about soccer and people paying for club soccer teams.
Yeah.
Elle from Wisconsin says, wild how with people paying for all these clubs, the U.S. still can't compete with the random people who just play soccer for fun around the world.
Literally.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, a lot of those great soccer players aren't random people who just play for fun. They're you know, identified early in their lives too, and put on, you know, Real Madrid's youth academy.
Right.
You know,
They're like 12 moving away from their families.
Yeah. Plus, that's the main sport in those countries. So,
yeah.
you know,
shout out to my cousin's kid. She grew up in Portland. Her dad is one of the coaches for the MLS team in Charlotte. But she was playing on one of those club teams like we have here for the Revs, where all these teams, you know, seem to have like full programs.
Academy teams.
And she just went to Rutgers. She's going to play at Rutgers, so she's a Division I soccer player.
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's a
good
great
for her.
program.
Shout out my cousin's kid. But I just think about it all the time. I loved hockey growing up. Like, I couldn't get enough. And now I just, like, I don't even know where I would fit in with all these players who are just constantly going to showcases and this and that. I mean, I played for my public high school. I played hockey night in Boston. Played a couple tournaments around here in the summer. But, like, I took time off. I didn't play that much, you know, in the summer. And now it just seems like it's a year-round job. It's completely competitive. As much money as my parents were fortunate enough to be able to pay for me to play hockey, now it seems like even more. And as a referee, I go and I ref these showcases, and I'm like, none of these kids are playing college hockey.
No.
But how much are they paying to play 6 games in, you know, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? And like, you flew up from Florida, you're missing school to be here, and you're 12 years old,
Literally.
and you still can barely skate. Like, what are we doing?
For me, like before high school, it was $50. Ludlow Youth Soccer Association. You pay $50, you get a T-shirt with a number on it, and you go play. And we turned out incredible soccer teams year after year. And now it's like, okay, you have to pay a couple $1,000 to be on this club team, and then you also have to pay per tournament and for the travel and accommodation. And then also you're going to get 3 different kits that you have to pay for too. And it's like, these kids aren't playing for Barcelona. They don't need their uniforms to
they
have
think they are.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not that serious.
Yeah. Well, you know what is serious? Bob's Discount Furniture.
Sure is.
If you want to become a champion furniture
Great
shopper,
transition.
save even more on your favorite pieces with Bob's Discount Furniture Outlet. Shop Bob's Outlet for exclusive styles and new markdowns added weekly on clearance items from comfy couches and game day ready dining sets to trendy home decor and dreamy Bob-O-Pedic mattresses. So shop now, stock up, and save more at the only place with more discounts than Bob's Outlet. Thanks to Bob's Discount Furniture, the official furniture store of the New England Patriots. All right, that's going to be it for this edition of Patriots Unfiltered. We'll be back on Thursday, getting closer to camp.
I know. Think of it, just the 3 of us again.
Hey, this is Deuce. Thanks for tuning into the show. If you really want to help us, make sure you like us wherever you get your podcasts, like Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, make sure you follow us on the New England Patriots YouTube channel to see this show and everything else that we do here at the Patriots. Thanks a lot.